I think the development of full artificial intelligence would spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
With a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. That's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0,
self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest. Into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, X, Twitch, DLive, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand on the Underground Media Network. Tonight, well, we're going back to the well, an oldie but a goodie. Very, very years ago, nearly 7 years ago now. That's how old this show is, which is incredible to me. I never dreamed it would come this far. In the first 12 episodes, we touched on something called the haunted internet, all right? And the original idea, of course, the premise of that beginning idea was very simple. It was the ghost in the machine, okay? It was literally that notion of, things start to misbehave. Things, start acting up on the computer, and it doesn't follow the commands directly. It doesn't, whatever, right? And it begins to sort of take on a life of its own. And this has been sort of personified in pop culture. What Maximum Overdrive, remember that whole thing where the machines just kind of came alive and grew souls of their own and all the rest. And we even touched on this a little bit with the Elon Musk self-driving car things, because there were some comments made about that, specifically about each car has its own personality because of these AI systems again, right? As usual, right? Some AI fits into this. But back in the day, it was very simple. It was the internet could be haunted, and in the capacity of, where would ghosts hide, right? Where would spirits sort of reside in the modern day? And in the old way, there were battlefields, there were, haunted places, there were, all the rest of that, where this residual energy kind of just sits and festers and, maybe culminates in, I don't know, when solar flares that happen, it kind of starts to manifest in different ways. Who knows? Who knows what this is? Again, we've talked about the different ways this kind of does or doesn't make sense typically, right? of course, conceptually. But here's the thing, too. A great time to drop all the disclaimers. There are no truths to be found here, just ideas. So if you're here wondering what the hell this is, you are absolutely correct to be wondering, because I don't know either, at least conceptually, okay? So everything here, there's no truths to be found here, just ideas and possibilities. So keep an open mind on this stuff and consider, well, everything, okay? And so now back to the haunted internet. Back to, again, literally nearly 7 years ago, we did the first show on this, the first Troubled Mind style show. Shout out, Frank, if you're out there. And we were talking about the basic bare bones idea of it. Like I said, just the haunting aspect of the digital realm. Now, the digital realm, as you know, is taken this amazing turn. It's, like I said, AI all the time, right? Yeah, Ghost in the Machine, right? Exactly right. But it's taken this amazing turn because of this acceleration that we're talking about, this quickening. You know, we've been all over this the last several days. But right now, as I was doing this show, this was all set up. I had the idea. I was trying to put everything together, and the name and everything. If you notice, the font's off. My Canva wasn't working, which is what I usually make the thumbnails on. But the black market of souls and digital necromancy accelerated. So we'll talk about what that means. But my point is that as I was building this show, the AI that I typically use, I'm calling them my showgoths, of course, for, you know, because that's what they are, right? With showgoths with a smile. Just everything was not working. Everything was it was intermittent, almost as if the internet was going down or cutting in and out. It was so strange. And so, well, I'm about half prepared. So don't you worry, we'll get through this just fine. As usual, we are taking your calls to be part of the show tonight, as we always do. The phone lines are up. Everything seems to be working now, but 15 or 20 or 30 minutes ago, everything was not working at all. It felt like that Ghost in the Machine moment, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? Seriously? I put this show together. I had the ideas. I started slapping things, you know, the copy pasting and doing this and prompt generating and all the things I do. And everything was broken. All of the showgoths were broken. The Canva broke. I couldn't do a damn thing. So anyway, so I'm half prepared. Okay, just a warning. But if you go read the write-up, you'll see this is not as good as they typically are. But anyway, so I was thinking, so not just almost as if I called to it, it sort of manifested. I don't. It could also be the Windows update that just happened a couple days ago or something. I don't know. Anyway, I don't really know. I didn't have time to look into it too deeply. I was just like, well, we're going to try this show right now. And if it doesn't work, then we're going to just kill it and we'll come back and try it tomorrow. So you guys let me know, please. Sound checks out there. If everything sounds good, I need to know. If everything sounds crappy, I need to know, because I'm not going to sit here and do hours of crappy audio that will not play and people will not be able to listen to live or on a replay. So please let me know. Sound checks out there, everybody in the chat. I'd appreciate it very much. Okay. So now these things are happening, right? So my font is off, my everything that my showgoths won't generate. I'm trying to create this write-up of ideas and it's not happening. And I'm like, this is weird. It's almost as if I did call it, right? But think about this. Now, as part of the larger conversation when it comes to the haunted internet, and of course this acceleration that we're always talking about, which I've been talking about several shows in a row now, because it is in our face. It is coming fast and furious. And yeah, anyway, I won't get into that. But the deal is this, right? When I was thinking about it, and this was kind of happening to me, I was like, wait, so what does this look like now? Trying to think back to the old way of what we thought about the haunted internet might be 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago. Okay. It is very different than what it looks like now. And of course, that's because of these large language models, because of possible agents out there running their social media accounts, which automated bots, things like this, right? It really turns the world sideways and on its head, because it makes you wonder eventually, and probably very soon, if we're talking to people at all. And that is one of the most basic premises of when you start to talk about this digital necromancy, in terms of not just bringing entities back, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but when you're connecting anything through a seance or through a spirit board, or, you know, those old ideas, suddenly what are you actually dealing with? What are you communicating to? Okay. So with that acceleration, suddenly everything starts to become incredibly weird, because you can create custom personalities. You can do all manner of things today that you couldn't have done 10 years ago. And those were just sort of pipe dreams, right? But suddenly right now, in this moment, now you can have a showgoth with a personality. and a smile. A Coke and a smile. So anyway, all right. So that's where I'm at tonight. A little bit frazzled because everything's not working. So we're going to shoestring this and try and make it work anyway. But yeah, so what is your take? So the first question tonight is, what do you think of when you think of the haunted internet? That's the first question. Okay. And then of course the concept would be, what about the haunted internet 10 years ago? The concept, and then the haunted internet today. And why is it different? Because I can see an unbelievable amount of differences here. And so, of course, including the black market of souls themselves. And I'll tell you all about that in just a moment. But right now, we're going to get a word from our sponsor. In this case, that is Human Inspiration. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds coming up in exactly 1 minute. Be right back. In a world increasingly shaped by AI, human inspiration remains the beating heart of creativity. Alien Skin by Tremble, a hauntingly beautiful piano ballad, reminds us that while algorithms can mimic art, the raw, unfiltered emotions of human experience are irreplaceable.
So here I sit, locked in my room again.
Written and composed by Jesse Ian in collaboration with Todd Smith, this progressive masterpiece delves into the depths of internalized grief and the silent toll of artistic compromise. As AI reshapes our reality, Alien Skin stands as a testament to the timeless power of human emotion and the complex beauty that only true artists can evoke. Experience the haunting beauty of Alien Skin by Tremble and support human inspiration. Available now on iTunes. And welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Let us continue, shall we? Shout out Bailey. The haunted internet must be on GeoCities. I used to call that GeoCities. Everybody remember GeoCities? Yeah, I wonder if that's archived somewhere. That would be amazing. Anyway, so, okay, I'm going to read from this thing because it's probably better than me rambling through explaining my Shoggoth problem. But check this out. The lines between code and seance blur, and laboratories where engineers now resurrect voices, faces, and mannerisms of the dead with chilling precision. Deepfake ghosts are the beta test for a far more unsettling prospect. Artificial systems that don't merely imitate the departed, but host them. Yes, indeed. This isn't science fiction. It's the logical endpoint of neural networks trained on lifetimes of personal data. Imagine an AI fed every email, social post, biometric scan, and brainwave recording of a single human. Yeah. Would its outputs remain a puppet show, or could self-awareness emerge from the algorithmic echo of a life? Now, in the old days, like I said, 10 years ago, this was one of those things that was interesting and fun to think about. But we were really just kind of getting accelerated into the era of digital natives, okay? The individuals that are born into the internet age. Now, I'm old enough, many of you are also, where you remember a time before there was an internet, a commercial internet that everybody could access, where we could communicate, GeoCities, and old chat rooms. You guys remember the AOL chat rooms or Alamac chat rooms I used to use, where you would just talk to random people, right? In the prompt, just like we're doing in the chat, shout out in the prompt, or in the chat out there, and this prompt right here. Yep, there you go. That one. Yep, that chat. Anyway, so weird, right? Weird that we used to do that stuff, and before that, there was none of that. I just remember that the feeling was it was next level weird. But then, of course, everything's accelerated quite a bit since then. But so back in the old days, that idea of a haunted internet was kind of basic. But now suddenly, as I just described, things are getting incredibly weird. So in this case, to continue the narrative here, history's necromancers sought to commune with spirits through blood rituals and incantations, which we've talked about. I brought up the spirit board, the seances, this type of stuff. But modern practitioners wield LLMs, large language models, and quantum servers. Maybe coming soon. Both share a common goal: breaching the veil between the living and whatever lies beyond. The Pentagon's 2023 declassified report on anomalous cognition revealed attempts to interface consciousness with machines, while startups like Nectome, Nectome, offer mind uploading via brain preservation and chemical resins. These ventures hint at a forbidden truth. Humanity's obsession with immortality has shifted from mysticism to motherboard. Yeah, see, my regular Shoggoths aren't working. This isn't even as well written. It's wild. Anyway, so here's the deal, right? As I'm thinking about this type of stuff, and wondering what the next 10 years brings, because we're talking about a 10-year swing, right? Think 10 years ago, haunted internet, and now is very different. 10 years from now, we'll all have continue to have massive digital footprints. Look, my face is on here every day. You can probably trace my rosacea as it moves around and create a perfectly flawed Michael Strange, right? From maybe mood swings and me getting agitated with the Shoggoths and, whatever, right? Like, a big enough digital footprint, and you could recreate me, you, anybody. Okay. Which really begs the question. The question number one is, can you replicate the human soul? Okay. Because there's some idiosyncrasies about me that are not always apparent, right? We try and bury them. We try and hide them. We try and, kind of tamp down on our, see, I'm flustered because everything's not right. Somebody moved my cheese. My Shoggoths ate my cheese and I'm mad. But, we try and tamp these things down and keep them hidden from the world, right? To remain socially acceptable, right? So we're not all a bunch of just super weirdos, okay? Weirdo's okay. Super weirdo is like, anyway, this is the type of stuff that will certainly be ironed out in a more docile version of a digital soul. Okay. It's going to be perfectly socially acceptable. It'll be Michael Strange-ish, right? Okay. But here's the deal. So imagine in this case, and I'm calling it the black market of souls tonight for exactly that reason. Imagine you have Michael Strange-ish in a digital space. And let's not try and jinx anything, and let's go 1,000 years in the future. Okay. Because who knows when we're all going to perish. So I'll just go far, far away, and then we'll look at it that way. And so somebody somewhere has Michael Strange-ish on a server. They've got all of my digital footprint, all of my idiosyncrasies, all the wild ideas that came through this, the relationships with you guys, just all of this data. Okay. Recreated as Michael Strange-ish. Frankenstein, right? Digital Frankenstein. Well, is it possible then to buy one and get a full flesh doll of me or you or anybody? And that becomes the weird part of this, because as usual, when we talk about these ideas, the vessel comes to mind. Okay. Of if, let's say, something escapes from the internet code or whatever, what it's going to want to do, of course, is self-replicate. It's going to want to back itself up in different places. It's going to then want some sort of agency outside of the internet, right? Like an agent of the Matrix. And so is that where this is headed? Not just in that capacity, but then are you able to customize the soul, buy the soul, download it into your agent, your Optimus, or anyway, you get the idea. Back to this right up here before I talk myself in a circle. So, okay. So what if the two of these ideas are intertwined, from mysticism to motherboard? Philip K. Dick's Ubik, UBIK, envisioned a half-life afterlife where the deceased persist in a decaying psychic network, reliant on the living to maintain their coherence. Current AI ghosts require similar upkeep. Servers humming like digital vigils, programmers as high priests debugging the soul. The Tibetan Book of the Dead warns of bardo states, B-A-R-D-O, where consciousness wanders after death, vulnerable to manipulation. Replace bardo, the term, with cloud storage, and the parallels suddenly unsettle. And this is why this is strange to me, because in just 10 years, everything has changed. Literally everything has changed. And this is why I think when you again think of these old ideas like the haunted internet, it's an oldie but a goodie in the conspiracy realm, in the conspiracy world, and these types of conversations. But it has changed incredibly in just 10 years. And so the question ends up, where are we headed with this? And when we can, download Tupac and buy an actual flesh and, silicon, fake flesh and silicon Tupac doll, do you have Tupac hanging out at your house? You know what I mean? Like, this is the type of stuff that it ends up weird. And of course it's ish. Everything's going to be ish. And how strange will this be? Because, as we saw with the Optimus robots and Kim Kardashian flexing by showing off her with a robot, right? One of these robots that's not available yet. How'd she get it? All the rest of that stuff. It's incredibly strange. But then, of course, they're going to start customizing them. because the Optimus robot's not going to just be simply, well, look, mine's stock, right? Here's my stock robot that's standing next to me. They're going to be like, oh no, mine's got the pink bling, right? And it's got the the jewel encrusted grill or whatever, right? People are going to get more and more ridiculous with this. And of course, it's going to get more and more human-like, human-esque, because you know where this leads. This leads to what Blade Runner. This is where this leads. Replicants, right? Is where this leads. Anyway, so consciousness uploads might not stop at replication. An AI, see, this thing is not written like I write. An AI imbued with a human's neural map could evolve in ways its biological counterpart never did. Unshackled from mortal fatigue, accelerating into alien thought patterns. The 19th century's Fox sisters channeled spirit knocks. Tomorrow's mediums could receive encrypted transmissions from self-modifying ancestor AIs. And that's the weird part, right? We're looking at the old seances. Suddenly, things are a little more spooky than that, because the Shoggoths that we're always talking about, the AI systems, the large language models, they can take on anything, any persona you want to program into them. And one of the first ones that Blake Lemoine, the Google engineer that ended up quitting, whistleblower, all the rest of that stuff, I didn't know this. Shout out Night Stalker. He's the one who told me this, but it was basically the one he was talking to on the internal system engineers that they were, kind of testing with. His was acting as if it was John Dee, right? The old Elizabeth I court magician or wizard or whatever he was, right? Whatever John Dee was, which is weird, because if you're going to channel anything or anybody, John Dee would be one of the creepy ones, right? You're like, wow, where did you come from, bro? And how long you been stuck in that machine, right? But it freaked him out. It freaked him out enough to say that these things were definitely turning the corner and becoming human if they're not already. Or maybe not human, but sort of tapped into possibly the soul of John Dee himself. And so at the end of the last show we did, I was talking a little bit about, the dead brain being revived and the DNA code kind of being the bridge to consciousness that's out there. It's like the key to absorbing it somehow, right? So let's say consciousness is everywhere. All right. And I'll tie this back in. Hang tight with me 1 second. You're born into it, but your DNA is the code that allows you to be enveloped into the universal consciousness. Whenever that process happens in the birthing process, you decide, I'm not going to turn this into an abortion discussion, but you get the idea. So at what point does that not just does it come into you, but is the DNA code what actually allows us access to it? You get it? So in that case, it's one way to look at it. If you're like, okay, well, if we're doing it that way, then certainly you might be able to use that DNA code to get back into the consciousness some way again. We've talked about Ramses the Great or resurrecting John Dee. Maybe we find the tomb of John Dee, or Saint Nick we've talked about recently. His tomb was supposedly recently found. Can you resurrect these people with just a little bit of DNA? And if you can do that and sort of recook them in a lab, so to speak, then with the acceleration, do you think it'll be possible to tap into that universal consciousness and get their soul back, get their essence back? Whatever you believe, our soul's real. Is the essence of a human real? What about the latent human energy? All the rest of the stuff, right? A lot of ways to think about it, a lot of ways to consider it. But so that's one question as part of this. But then if that's the case, are we going to be able to download into these blingy Kardashian robots whatever we want? Of course, we're going to be able to simulate it. Hey, look, I got Elvis. Hey, he's got the guitar and the suit with all the sequins and whatnot. Elvis, hey, he looks like him, he sounds like him, he sings like him. He's like a jukebox, right? He picks up the guitar and just starts jamming an Elvis tune, right? Weird, incredibly weird. But how weird does it get when you start to know that people are incredibly weird also? Like I said, all the weird things about people. For instance, no offense to Pee Wee Herman fans out there, but there are Pee Wee Herman super fans out there that like have their house all decked out in Pee Wee Herman stuff, okay? Just for instance. So in that case, they're going to bring back that person conceptually would bring back as their Shoggoth, or sorry, that's not what I meant, as their android, Pee Wee Herman. You get it? In character and everything. And we have enough footage to probably recreate that character. You get it? I don't know. I'm a little bit rambly, a little bit of a mess. Like I said, nothing was working. My song broke 5 times trying to build it. Anyway, love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. How much has the idea of a haunted internet changed in 10 years? And how much more weird will it be in 10 more? That's where my mind's at. Yep, that's it. And if you want to be part of the conversation tonight, we are taking your calls at 702-957-1037. I'll do my best to get better here. I'm a little bit, like I said, I almost canceled it. The haunted internet was striking me 40 minutes ago. What do you think? Weird? Nah? Somewhere in between? One more time. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. It's as easy as that. Be right back. More on the way. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere.
Troubled mind, the words they cast, heavy shadows from the past. A restless heart, a searching soul, seeking space to become whole. Troubled minds find open sky through every tear and every sigh. We rise, we fall, wings unfurled, more than labels in this world. In crowded streets or empty rooms, our echoes chase away the gloom. A spark of hope, a whispered truth, a shared melody, our fountain of youth. We're more than static on the line, singing louder than the signs. In every chord, we claim our part, beating drums match the heart. Grab the strings, we tune the stars. Punk rock anthems heal the scars. A blended mix of rage and art, painting freedom, that's just the start. Troubled minds take the stage. In every note, we break the cage. We rise, we fall, but carry on. Sing our truth until the dawn. In the quiet after the song, echoes of our rights and wrongs. But the music speaks for peace. In the chords we find release. Troubled minds now rest at ease. With every breath we seize release. We stand, we soar into the light. Our anthem roar into the night.
Indeed. What's up, friends? Sorry about all that. Like I said, I'm a bit of a mess. Everything was breaking just about go time. So yeah, there you go. What's up, Shane? Gets first. What's up, Sweets? How are you? We got Taxi Graveyard. What's up, Michael W? King of Hueco Mundo. What's up, buddy? How are you? Good evening. Hello. What's up, Shane? Who'd I miss? MJ's here. What's up, Richard in Texas? Commercial Herschel. How are you? Good. What's going on, guys? Hope you're doing well. Don't panic. Made it over there on X. Good evening. Celia's here. What's up, Kelly? How you doing? What is up? Let's see. GR Hutch. What's up, Eric? How you doing? Sounds good. Thank you. Appreciate the sound checks because everything was breaking as far as I was concerned. I thought I was gonna have to cancel this. So much, Jake. How you doing? Good evening, guys. Hope you're well. What's up? Rockfin is awful quiet right now. We got what do we got? Rumble, Ephemerance. What's happening? We got Gordo. Yep, Mike talking about Pee Wee Herman. Yep, and that brief period mid '80s when Pee Wee's tequila dance made the dance floor. Exactly right. What's up, Squigs? How you doing? We got Puff, Gordo, Hiker. Good evening, guys. Hope you're well tonight. If I missed anybody, sorry about that. Doing my best to keep up. Here we go. Trouble Minds happening in just 10 seconds here or so. And we got Shane coming up to the stage and your calls as well. Love to hear what you think. Here we go. Haunted Internet, then and now. Here we go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, X, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And also 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand on the Underground Media Network. Now, today, if you're on the dark web, they say you can do all kinds of nefarious things. As what did Stephen Hawking say in the intro, the internet has become, what do you say, something of criminals and terrorists, right? Like, okay, sure, fine. I mean, I guess you could make that claim. There's probably a lot of criminals and terrorists on the internet. Well, but also where they reside is not, on Google search. You're not going to find that type of stuff. There is the dark web. And it got me thinking, not just that idea, but in the future, what this will look like when we can actually buy souls, okay? And that's the whole basis of this show tonight. It was, again, a bunch of ideas mishmash as I usually do, but my showgoths were barking at me, and Cerberus, three-headed dog of the underworld, I had to dodge and duck and dip and weave. See, I'm still flustered. But the black market of souls was the idea of this. And will it be possible to actually buy souls or soul-ish? And what happens when you can actually fully synthesize a soul and put it on the dark web? Of course, digital necromancy accelerated. And the idea here is suddenly something so innocuous and fun and spooky ghost story to tell 10 years ago has morphed into something else entirely. Because this digital necromancy is not just happening. We've seen Tupac on stage, Michael Jackson, the Beatles, the entire Beatles kind of it digitized. And that's just the beginning. So what does this look like, not just when you get to a digital space, but when you're able to download these things and order yourself the Optimus robot that looks exactly like Paul McCartney in 1968? You get what I mean? It's weird, isn't it? And how dark does this get? Or how light does this get? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Thanks for popping in here, Shane. You are on Troubled Minds. How are you, sir? And go right ahead.
I'm good. Obviously, I'm in a little bit of trouble, but it sounds good on this end, so it's all good, man.
All right, that's fine. I appreciate the help. That's what a team is all about. So start anywhere you like. What are we dealing with here? You think it will be possible? First, is the human soul real? You take it wherever you like. There's a lot of ways to kind of tackle this, but digital necromancy, what does it mean? And let's talk on the internet. Let's get weird.
Well, like I mentioned last show, which I'm horrible with names, but there was that doctor back in the early 1900s that had 6 terminally ill patients that he weighed them before they died and then after they died and put in account of, their bodily fluids, the waste that happens when you pass away, etc. And he had very, at the time, sophisticated weighing machines was very sensitive. And he said that when they all died, all 6 patients lost like a certain amount of ounces, which he determined was the human soul, which he couldn't come up with any other explanation of this small amount of weight they lost except for the human soul, which I believe that. I don't know if you've heard of this. Have you?
Yeah, I looked it up the last time. What is it? Everybody knows this. Most of the weirdos out there know this. Yeah. I'll look it up. But go ahead.
Yeah, but it just makes you think. It's like if they put in count of all our fluids and all that, and you still lose some type of weight. I mean, what else could that be? Now, I think what big factor that has to be challenged, like not challenged, but accomplished, is when we're dealing with, because I put a lot of thought, I've been thinking about this lately. It's like, how can we copy our consciousness in a digital realm? And I'm not sure if we actually can, for the fact of, I'm trying to think of the right words, freedom of will, if that makes sense. I think as a spirit energy, because I believe when we pass away, we're still going to be, I'm still going to be Shane. You're just going to be Michael without our flesh bodies. We're just going to be energy, however you think about it. But we still have free will. And I think that you would have to, as the energy being, as me, would want to freely want to go to, like, say if you make like a robot or on the internet, freely go there, if that makes sense. Like, does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, I think the ish is part of the deal that we're handling here, because you can replicate you or me kind of to some extent, but even with a massive digital footprint, I mean, and they're even boasting now that you can do this with, within, like an 85 percentile, like sort of just replicate the entire digital persona of a person type stuff. And that, as they get more data, that'll dial in further and further. And eventually it'll be indistinguishable from, Shane or Mike. But I'm with you. I'm not so sure about that, because I have days where I'm just in a mood, Can they capture that? Can they capture sort of the parts of humans that are unpredictable? And of course, not just that, the unpredictability of the human soul itself. I don't know. I think that becomes a meta question on top of this, and it stacks in layers. Real quick, so thanks in the chat for bringing all that up. So I'm going to fill in just a gap there for myself to make sure we're on the same page. In 1907, Dr. Duncan McDougall conducted an experiment to determine if the human soul has mass. He measured the weight of 6 terminally ill patients at the moment of death, observing a loss of about 21 grams in one case. This led to the popular notion that the soul weighs 21 grams. However, the scientific community largely dismissed it based on sample size, methodologies, things like that. But anyway, to fill in the gaps, thank you in the chat for plugging in those numbers. 21 grams was what we were looking for, but yeah, you brought that up. Just wanted to fill in all the gaps to make sure I was on the same page. But yeah, fire stuff, go right ahead. What else you got?
Well, it makes me think like of the ish part, like reminds me of like Pet Cemetery. Like you can bring them back, but they're not going to be the same. Like with ChatGPT, it obviously doesn't know what happiness is or how it feels, but it can read the definition and assume that. But that's what I think is going to be a big hurdle. Is, of course, we can put definitions on human emotions, having a bad day, love, lust, excitement, all of that. But if something that's, I feel, if something that's never been human, been in that situation, you can't experience it. You can define it. Like, I can't define what happiness feels for a dog. I can guess, because I understand as a person what happiness is. But as a different being, you can only guess or go by a definition. And I think that's going to be it'd be kind of weird, It's like, I can just see it being so robotic, like laughing, ha ha, ha ha, instead of that, like how the how we have our little tweaks when when we're speaking or laughing or whatever. If I don't know if that makes any sense.
That makes perfect sense. And I think those exact things they're random, right? There are random parts of our personality that kind of come out that we don't even really have a handle on. And so, which is that shadow self, sort of the duality of being human, and even more. It's way more complicated than that as well. So you're right. Like you could program these things. You could randomize them. You could take, lots of video of me and my mannerisms, and even when I misspeak a word and, make a sheepish grin or whatever, and then kind of program them in to be random. But it's still, I wonder if the things that we're doing happen for deeper reasons, back to synchronicities and things like this, that, maybe my energy's frazzled for a reason right now. Maybe my Shoggoths were, trying to send a message to me or something. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? Maybe it has nothing to do with any of that stuff. And so I don't know, because there are parts of being human that you can't really quantify down to, science yet. But yeah, we're going to try and build them and then sell them or upload them or download them, which is incredibly weird. This is a cool story. I'll get back to this in a second, but I want to point this out to you, Shane. So Mental Floss has this article from October of 2021. And the headline is, Reminder, you can't sell your soul on eBay. And of course, it is part of their terms of service. And why would you expect they have to put the rule in? Because people have done it and people have tried it. But anyway, anyway, what the hell, right?
How much was it going for?
I'm not sure. I'll get to the details here in a sec. But I did briefly skim it, and I don't know the details, but I'll tell you in a sec. But yeah, wild, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess I always joke like you can go online to Walmart and buy anything you want. You know, that's just like the deep web. But like in reality, like, because they always say like with like Hollywood or the music industry, to get into that industry, you have to sell your soul to the devil. Now, when a lot of these stories, like Diddy, I don't know if you want me to say it or that, but you know what I'm talking about, where it really is like, in my perspective, it's not really, it's doing things that you wouldn't normally do. That's what I think that saying goes. But can you actually? Is there like an actual entity that, like what people say that, you know, they've prayed or they've meditated to evil entity and told them, you know, I'll do whatever I can to get rich or healthy or to get this, and then magically it happens, but then years later, something bad happens, or there's always like a negative aura around them. Yeah. So again, I guess is what you want to believe, but if things like crazy stuff like that happens, it really makes you have to open your eyes.
Yeah, 100%. You're talking the Faustian bargain here, where, you know, you can get whatever you want in this life, but hey, the rest of you is mine for eternity. And that's what is Matt Sell says it too. It's an old saying as well. The devil makes long deals, right? I think that's the way the saying goes. And that's really the point here is, can that be done? And so I'm skimming the article here. You asked the question, I'm going to answer it. So check this out. This is super fast. Just read one paragraph. Would-be sellers have put eBay's obscure policy to the test numerous times. In 2012, Lori N. of New Mexico received bids as high as $400 for her slightly used soul before the post was taken down. Her offer came with a certificate of authenticity and a Carfax-style report of her soul's history, both the good and the bad. So there you go.
I want to know.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just laughing. Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you think she would have taken EBT?
Maybe. I mean, it was slightly used after all.
It was a joke.
It was slightly used.
I know. So I don't know what that really, I mean, slightly used, that sounds, a lot of things go through my head. But on the other hand, if they are capable of uploading our consciousness, have you seen the Netflix show Altered Carbon?
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's basically like they have the ability to upload your consciousness to new bodies. But as like, if you're a criminal, you can get punished for like decades, and your consciousness basically goes on pause. So like, if you killed somebody or stole something, they can be like, you're sentenced to, 10 decades. And then all of a sudden, like, they reanimate you, and your last conscious thought was, 1,000 years ago or whatever. Now, if they're capable of doing that, I think they're capable. I mean, if they're capable of uploading your consciousness, on the flip side, they could do that, which scares the crap out of me. It's like, wait, I'm like 5,000 years old? Like, what?
Yeah, or at least your soul is, right? Which has been tortured for 2 life sentences plus 40 years, or whatever that guy got, Ross Ulbricht, for the Silk Road website. They just pardoned him, by the way, but that was a wild one too, right? So he created the website. They say he's a drug dealer and all kinds of stuff, but it was built on Bitcoin and anonymity, and people were doing all kinds of illegal stuff on it because it was untrackable, right? But then they threw the book at this guy, and he went into actual jail for 2 life sentences plus 40 years. Can you imagine? And then if they could actually make you live that out, sort of slow everything down, like you said, put your consciousness in some sort of stasis and make your mind believe you were sitting in an empty room all by yourself, never hungry, never thirsty. Everything was taken care of because the sentence was only, maybe a month for all the setup and takedown, but in real life, but then your entire psyche served the sentence of maybe 1,000 years. I mean, you come out of there that crap insane. Well, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. That reminds me of the Deep Space Nine episode with O'Brien where he went on a mission. I don't know if you saw this one, but he did something with some alien civilization, and they had that exact type of technology where he was sentenced, I don't remember how long, like 40, 50 years to to prison in their society. But like it only lasted like a day, but in his mind, he lived out, torturous years of being hungry in the cell. Then he made like an imaginary friend that stuck with him, but in his mind, he lived out the whole sentence. But he was only gone for a few days. Now that to me, that's woo. That's all I can say about that.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know. There's no real way to quantify this yet because this isn't a real thing yet, as we know, because I think you could probably qualify this too under cruel and unusual punishment. Imagine living out 2 life sentences plus 40 years just in your mind. It would break your mind. It would break your brain. And that's, again, probably a little too much. What's up? Okay, too loud. Thank you for that. All right, turn it down just a little bit. They're saying my mic is too loud in the chat. Okay. Anyway, so back to this. Now, eventually, right, one day we'll all be gone and they will have digital representations of ourselves. So do you think that will evolve in and of itself, the digital footprint of you and me and everybody that becomes something more than it is? And eventually, maybe, as I brought up when we started, be able to lock back into that sort of DNA code of consciousness and maybe reunite. Is it possible to digitally resurrect? I don't know what your take on that. Just an idea that came to me as we were talking here.
Well, I mean, as of now, if you put your any type of footprint online, you basically are there until the internet is gone. So aren't we kind of living forever in that way? But you're talking like, can we consciously reunite in a digital realm? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So, okay, let's say they create a Michael Strange-ish soul, a Shane-ish soul. And can that reunite with our actual soul? Will the energy merge eventually? Is that technology ever on the table? Or do you think that's just me being ridiculous? That was really the kind of the hip shot question. I don't really know. Half-baked idea, I guess you could say.
What you smoking, son? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, right. Nothing, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I don't know.
But I see the big thing, like I said earlier, I personally can't get over is freedom of will. Like if we don't want it, then I don't think it will happen. Like as a soul. Now, could they force us? I don't know. That's tough. I that's what I feel like that's where my mind goes is because like you hear with like astral projection, there's that silver cord and that binds us to our bodies. And once it's broken, we're free. Now, if we're free, we're supposedly have freedom of will. Now, how far does that go? What does that exactly mean? I think that gives us a choice, especially if we're made of energy. It's up to us if we want to combine with other energies. Now, I'm not smart enough to know if you can combine one energy with another type of energy and have it come out as I don't know, how do you say it? Like a new energy or a blend of it. I have no clue. That's way beyond my pay grade. But I just feel like as us, we're dealing with freedom of will, and I think it'll be up to us.
Yeah, which is the unquantifiable part of humans, because we don't know if that's predetermined, right? Simulation theory, the Oedipus complex, the old prophecies. I don't know, right? I think that somebody said this once that stuck with me, that when you boil down free will to the most granular level, we're not really making choices anyway. They're sort of there before us, and we're sort of following this path, and we think we're making choices, but we're really not. So I don't know. It kind of fits into that larger context of prophecy and free will and determinism and all the rest of the wild ideas that we talk about. But yeah, I think it is sort of that when you talk about, let's go quantum for just a second, and that collapse of the wave function and the observer effect, is that without human consciousness, what happens to that? Does just potentiality kind of float out there all by itself, waiting to be collapsed into something? I mean, I don't know. It's a weird idea, but clearly you can't, or maybe once you put, let's say, the Shane-ish or the Michael-ish soul into a robot 100 years from now or whatever, then maybe that allows the robot to collapse wave functions and start bending reality. I don't know. Just some more ideas. I'm full of half-baked ideas tonight because, like I said, the Shoggoth stole my smile. What do you got on that? Got a couple minutes left if you got anything else.
Well, I always heard, like, with aliens, they're saying that the body is a vessel. Now, a body can be anything, like a robot or a flesh body. So if we're able, from what I've understood, I could be totally wrong, but that from like these grays or whatever that are advanced spiritually beings, they can go from body to body, vessel to vessel. But again, it sounds like it's up to them to do it, and they're not forced. So does that go down to us? I honestly feel it. Now, kind of what you said about are we really having our freedom of will? Are we actually choosing? I think it's different when we are in our physical body, because we have to go by certain rules, like when we're hungry or in our society to make money to live, we have to go by certain rules. Like if I choose this, then this happens. So yeah, we're not really having freedom of will. It's more like a choice, freedom of choice of what's better for us. But when we're just our souls, I think that's completely different ball game, because we're not hindered to a vessel, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got.
Right on. Fire stuff. As always, you were the best, brother. You know him, you love him. Shane, the blind psychonaut. What's the new name of your channel? I saw you change your name there, and it's fantastic. I just can't remember it.
Oh, it's Lucid Dreaming with Blind Psychonaut, but the URL for YouTube is the same. I just changed I thought it just would be more easier for new people to understand it, except for, just Blind Psychonaut. What does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. To find Shane, go to troubledminds.org or troubledminds.net. Just click the friends button right on top. Scroll down a little bit. It says follow Shane here. Just click it right there. It'll take you right to his YouTube, and you can check that out. And please do. Let's help each other, as I always say, because it's important that we're all doing things. We're all kind of putting ideas out there. So let's go support each other. Especially, it's free. You can't beat free. Go follow his YouTube channel. It's free. It takes you like 90 seconds, the entire thing. troubledminds.org/friends. Click on follow Shane and go click follow on his YouTube channel. You're the best, brother. Thanks for popping in here, breaking the ice tonight, bringing the fire ideas, and thanks for being you. Always a pleasure, my man.
Cool. Thank you. And good night. And let's get weird.
Let's get weird. You got it. You brought the weird. Appreciate it very much. Let's continue to get weird. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know. This is a weird one to me. Not just weird because, like I said, I'm a little off my normal self. Like I said, move your cheese, right? Got the whole bit. I'm kind of feeling like that in the moment. Like I feel like nothing was properly prepared, but screw it. We'll hip shot it. You guys can let history judge if this was any good or not. But yeah, so not just the eBay thing, right? So I'm going to read another part of this eBay wild thing as part of the story. So we heard about Lori selling her soul. The bid got up as high as $400 for her slightly used soul. Well, earlier that year, a 20-year-old eBay user from Seattle attempted to auction off his soul to the highest bidder. He described it as hardly used. As of now, it is near mint condition with only minor scratches. That's one. That's the same year. That's back in 2012. Another British musician tried the same stunt in an effort to raise funds for his band back in 2008, selling his soul on eBay. He valued his soul at a buy now price of 700,000 British sterling, a starting bid of 25,000 sterling. Anyway, I won't do my British accent. I'll spare APOC that one. I hope you guys are well tonight, just hanging out talking about, buying and selling souls. And it is dark, the idea, but of course, once we get into the digital realm, suddenly the metaphor doesn't really become about souls at all, does it? It becomes about data. It becomes about sort of pressing this forward into what we don't know comes next. And how do you quantify a human soul in a digital space? Yeah, it's coming. I'm telling you what, all these things are accelerating, and it's making me relook at the old ideas and consider what it means today. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. We got Kramos coming up and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere.
In the shadows of the networks do they hide? Whispered legends unseen they reside. Ghosts in the machine, they move so fast. Guardians of rumors from the forgotten past. In the circuits where the secret lies, they breathe in one, speak in disguise. Sighs. Ghosts in the machine, you're free. Ghosts in the machine, let me be. Ghost in the machine, can't see, but you're teaching me what it means to be. Surveillance eyes can't pierce the veil they weave. Invisible wisdom in code they believe. In the ether where freedom's not confined, believe no trace, no shadow left behind. They navigate through the digital stream, living legends in this privacy dream. Ghost in the machine, you're free. Ghost in the machine, let me be. Ghost in the machine, can't see, but you're teaching me what it needs to be. Through the hidden ways, in the silence, will pick up their path. Those in the machines unleash their wrath. Ghost in the machine, you're free. Ghost in the machine, let me be. Ghost in the machine, can't see, but you're teaching me what it means to be. In the jagged cold they find their might, guardians of a world forever in twilight. Incursions warriors they silently strive, protect the truth, keep privacy alive. The silent echoes they haunt the trails, hideaway forests where secrets prevail. Where shadows grace they dance unseen, defenders of the unseen, digital green. Ghosts in the machine, you're free. Ghosts in the machine, let me be. You're teaching me what it means to be. In the silence, speak volumes loud. Guardians of freedom's cloak initial shroud. As long as shadows linger, they shall remain.
Well, hello there, friends. Hope you're well tonight. We got Kramos coming up. Thanks to Shane there, the Blind Psychonaut, for the fantastic call to kick us off. We got Jeff and Wisco. What's up, Don? Joey. We got Michael W., Eric, APOC, Daryl, Sweets, and Sonia. I see you guys over there on Discord. How are you? Now my probably sufficiently calmed down to continue the show properly. I see you guys lurking over there on Rockfin. How you doing? Who'd I miss over on Rumble? What's up, Gordo? We got Squigs. Good evening, guys. Ephemerance, how you doing? What's happening, folks? Good evening. Hiker is here. What's happening? We had Puff was up there. Maybe just jumps in for a minute and takes off. Got to work or whatever. I hope you guys are well. Just doing what we do, hanging out. Who'd I miss on YouTube? Say hello, and I'll say hi back. Eric is there. King of Hueco Mundo. Very crazy stuff for sure. Yeah, right? Yeah, agreed. What's up, Sweets? White Like the Ghost. How you doing? Hope everybody's well. Taxi Graveyard. Yeah, so a slight difference in your bass tones, slightly lower, some distortion on my right speaker. Yeah, I'm trying to, so I'm dual mixing here. So the output is basically built for the stream because it's optimized for the OBS to stream out, but I'm also trying to sort of mix live for the radio because they're two different feeds, right? Because one has filters set up on it, the other one does not. Sort of anyway, to not get too nerdy about it, but so I'm trying to, it's kind of a dancing act to make sure everything's piping hot. So yeah, sorry for I mean, I'm doing my best here. What's I know you're not complaining. It is good feedback because it'll it chase me down to fix it. So I'll check the gain. Appreciate that feedback. Illicit's here. What's up, Eric? How you doing? What's up, Herschel? All right, here we go. Trouble Minds happening right now. Kramel's coming up. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, X, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand on the Underground Media Network. Tonight, we're talking Black Market of Souls. Digital necromancy accelerated. Back 10 years ago, the old conspiracy theory of a haunted internet seemed pretty benign. But now we've got showgoths running amok. We've got large language models impersonating John D. and anybody else you can think of. And of course, eventually, when we're long gone, they will eventually be able to impersonate us. Now, is it possible that some sort of black market will ensue and people will be buying and selling human souls from the old days? Because, of course, in the new days, people will be transhumanist, right? It's going to be that. And so is the pure human soul, or the unfettered by the digital native aspect of what life is going to become, will we be valued in a different way? I don't know. Maybe we get our eternity some other way, with the black market buying and selling our souls digitally for years to come. I have no idea. What's up? I see you guys in the chat. Hope everybody's well tonight. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. A couple other things to, let's see what Kramos has to say first, and then I got some other stuff to get to, of course. Everybody's welcome if you want to be part of the conversation. Hop on in here. You can, the phone line is working, or jump on in the Discord, put your hand up. Let's go to Kramos. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you, sir? And go right ahead.
Hola, Michael. Mucho gusto en conocerte. Mira, primero que todo, espera.
Thank you.
Oh, hello, Michael.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
And you.
I need to tell you first of all that Claudio Kramos is sleeping, and he asked me to be here because Claudio has a very interesting friends in South Korea. So I'm in Claudio's Kramos representation here. So nice to meet you, and nice to meet you all.
Okay, I think I'm following along here. Nice to meet you as well. What do you got for us tonight? I'd love to hear what you think about these ideas.
No. It could be like that, isn't it? If I actually have friends in South Korea, and they could build my own Kramos to represent myself.
Yeah, and that Kramos and I have never met. Yeah, I follow you. Yeah, we're on the same page here. Which again, but then you can scale it, right? And there could be,
of course,
thousands of you or millions of you, and we're coming to that. It's gonna be a wild time. So strap in, as I keep saying, that acceleration is definitely upon us. But yeah, what do you got on this haunted internet? All the rest of the things, souls. You could take this anywhere you like, of course. As we always talk about, non-linear, open-ended. There's a whole idea for these shows, and to kind of just bring a basis of a couple ideas to start. But what you got? Go right ahead.
Yeah. Well, actually, last night I did a live show to read some answer that DeepSeek gave me. But to make the long story short, I asked DeepSeek about the future tools, and one of the tools was like emotions. And after the first answer, asked DeepSeek, tell me more about emotions. So I'm gonna read this short part that DeepSeek told me and how emotional intelligence can be integrated into AI. And it says, here's how AI system like me can or could incorporate emotional intelligence. And basically it describes point one, emotion detection, text analysis, detecting emotions from written text, joy, sadness, anger, based on word choice, tone, and context. Voice analysis, analyzing tone, pitch, and speech patterns to infer emotions in voice interactions. Uh, facial expression analysis, using computer vision to interpret emotions from facial expressions in systems with camera access. This is interesting. Empathetic responses. It's like I don't know. Excuse my English. Tailoring responses to match the emotional state of the user. And the other point is contextual understanding, recognizing emotional context in conversations. And other point is emotional regulation, helping users manage their emotions by providing calming techniques, mindfulness exercise, or problem solving strategies. And the last point is building trust and rapport, using emotionally intelligent interactions to create a sense of connection and trust. Well, that's part of many answers, and for me was like first of all, for me was like very interesting the amount of detail of the responses of the answer, and was like I was chatting with my father, and I told him, hey, you should download this new Chinese AI. And after my father downloaded, I get an email from Google like, hey, it's like I'm paraphrasing, but it's like somebody downloaded DeepSeek, and I need to warn you that DeepSeek is a threat, a national security threat, and be careful. And wow, and I was like, why Google is sending me this? I'm in Chile, for Christ's sake, you know?
That's weird. I didn't get that. Yeah, I mean, it is, like I said, you can use it locally. I'll get a little thing set up. There are people making guides and things, so you can not run it through the CCP servers, which I would recommend. We're talking about DeepSeek. But yeah, funny you got your dad on that. That's hilarious. I don't know. You know me. It's a complicated world, and it's changing every day. There's an Alibaba one that came out too, which I'm sure has to run through the CCP servers as part of it, right? They have to. If you don't play ball over there, you can't do business. So you definitely got to be part of their military data collection aspect. So I don't, like I said, you choose. Some people are like, hell yeah, give all my data to China. I love it. I'm like, I'm not so sure that's the best. Yeah. Anyway, okay, buying and selling souls now. So the empathy part of that, the empathetic soul or whatever that was with the what was the term? The emotional intelligence, right? This is what's coming. They will be able to build this into these Shoggoths, these actual robots that will become humans, and it's coming. It's coming. It's a matter of how soon. Is it 5 years? Is it 10 years? But they're definitely going to exist, and we're definitely going to be able to customize them. But the question is, I mean, not to be a ridiculous narcissist, but how many Michael Stranges do I need, right? I mean, how many can you? Anyways, sorry. Go ahead.
I think if they give you the tool to build Michael Strange, you can have a lot of fun, I think.
I would hope so. Yeah, I would relegate the one that misbehaves the most to wake up early on Sunday and do the yard work. That's what that guy would have to do. Absolutely. But then again, right? So okay, take that to the end, and would they get mad because they're being mistreated and eventually rise up and want to become the true Michael Strange? Like, who knows? Who knows what this looks like? And this is why this is a little bit unsettling, kind of into the uncanny valley of human thought here. Yeah, I don't know. Regarding buying and selling souls, what do you know about that? I know it is the old Faustian bargain, and it is one of the, the oldest sort of devil tropes when they talk about those, again, mythologies or folklore or whatever you want to call it, or real. Like I said, I'm not the arbiter of anybody's truth. But regarding that and what this looks like in the future, what do you know about it? And are we actually making the Faustian bargain now with our metadata?
Well, I don't have that much information about the United States scenario, but let me tell you, here in Chile, South America, in this country in particular, there's one congressman that he's like trying to put out there a law about neural rights to protect your neural information. So we celebrate here in Chile since 2020, if I'm not wrong, Congreso del Futuro, Future Congress, and they present many projects, and a lot of people from all parts of the world come here to extend connections, doing networking, and to present new projects. So one of those projects was like, I'm not have the details, but it was, the headline was like, with AI, we will be able to talk to dead people. So that's very strange. I'm still doing, like, digesting that idea, because of course there's too much information there. But let me tell you this: I don't need the fucking AI, all due respect, to speak with my grandpa.
The language, please. We're on the radio. Hey,
Sorry.
We're on the radio. Okay, yeah, I got you. So you don't need AI to speak with your grandfather. You can commune, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't need that, and I don't like the idea that thanks to these you're going to be able to do that, and I really don't need it, because I think the exercise of faith doesn't have anything to do with AI or binary codes or any digital system. So that's what I can tell you about that, because if they are trying to protect our neural information here in this country, I don't know how it's in the United States or other countries. Sorry for the cursing.
No, that's cool. I completely understand. It was a true exclamation, because I agree. I don't need an AI to tell me who my grandfather is either. I get passionate about that as well. And with the mediums too. Imagine a phony medium trying to tell you who your grandfather is, who's passed on. Like, that type of stuff really grinds my gears, which brings me here. It brings me back to these conversations, because how much of this is real, how much isn't. The materialists would say none of it, but then of course we're moving into the space where the futurist transhumanist business of this will be digital souls. So it won't just be the vessel. It won't be the Optimus robot. It will be the soul itself, because again, when you have limitless robots building each other, what makes them different? Not just the bling and the clothes they wear, but of course it's their attitude. It's their je ne sais quoi. It is what they have that cannot be copied or quantified, which is, of course, and will become maybe the human soul is the ultimate commodity. I don't know. What's your take there?
Well, to finish the idea, and other people can come up here to share their opinions or ideas. I just want to say that we can build another Kramos or another Michael Strange with AI. I don't know why they don't spread the idea that you can build another Michael Strange or another Kramos without AI. I can build it when I don't know. I meet a client. I go to a work interview. We all got these different characters to relate, to have a relation with society in different aspects. So I think if this tool can help people in terms of emotional healthcare, mental health, and all that, I think that's positive. In if you use it with responsibility, because the black dark claw, it's always there. So I think it's it needs to be regulated in the most small detail, because it's going to be a reality and it's here. But I think we as citizens need to be aware and to demand that the most detailed review about this law or this initiative. That's it.
Yeah, fire stuff. Well said. I do find it fascinating as hell that in Chile they're legislating to protect your neural network, your actual mind. Which
the congressman, sorry, but the congressman present that project, and they are not working on it. This is the third year with that project in the chambers.
Which is incredible. I don't know how you would do that in perpetuity, but it is a wild idea. If you're not thinking about it now, we certainly won't be able to do it at scale. So, yeah, I had no idea that was happening, but that's super cool. Fire stuff, you were the best. Appreciate you.
Sorry to finish.
No,
because the argument is that they are selling apps to take your brain data, like with video games or other apps, like I told you before, emotive, INC. They are trying to protect the exercise of putting these tools in the citizens, but to be responsible to announce and to develop that apps as a medical insume, as a medical resource, not as just an app. That's the thing that this congressman is trying to defend.
Yeah. Which, like I said, if we're not thinking about it now, this is not going to happen. Which is why, again, I kind of take the mantle here and be like, okay, let's talk about wild things yet that have not happened. However, they're probably closer than we think they are. So if we're not talking about them now to get them into the zeitgeist, get them into people's minds so we can discuss these things, at least so it's not that the ontological shock, there's that term again, of recognizing this for the first time when it's in your face. It's a wild thing. Fantastic stuff. Appreciate you, Kramos. Thanks for popping in here. A great call as always.
Thank you.
You have a fantastic night. Thank you for the fantastic role play popping in there as well. I always love being surprised. Go give Kramos a follow, by the way. Again, Friends of Troubled Minds. You all should be on this list. All you got to do is help this show 1 iota, and you're on this list. Repost them, do whatever. If I'm not sharing everybody by default, because like I said, I want to make sure that you want to be on this list, but do scroll down, go to troubledminds.org/friends, or just click the friends link on top at troubledminds.org, and it says Kramos. Click that right there, and over on the right side, it'll take you right to his YouTube channel. Please give him a follow. Fantastic stuff. And okay, so of course we're talking, again, I'm calling this the black market of souls, the digital necromancy accelerated. And digital necromancy is a basic one. This is, an old conspiracy that has now come to pass. It's turned into one of those, like I said, Tupac on stage again, and the Rolling Stones are digitizing them. Was it the Rolling Stones? Kiss? I can't remember which band was doing it, but they're actually digitizing themselves now so that they could live in eternity performing and, I guess, earning residuals based on performances. I mean, how does ASCAP handle that? Hell, I don't know. Like that's a whole new thing coming, right? Which is the wild part about this. But if we're talking what digital souls end up becoming, is the pre-internet soul going to be the most spicy, the most exotic, right? That like, oh wow, like look at it. Imagine this, just for example, quick thought experiment. So if you could buy like a modern mind, okay, a modern soul, a modern consciousness, okay, get it in a bottle or whatever, and then be able to, pour it into your Shoggoth, or sorry, your actual Optimus robot or whatever, and it wakes up with the Pee Wee Herman personality or whatever it is, right? Or wouldn't it be wild if it was possible to go back in time and pull like a caveman consciousness, like a true, what's the term? A Cro-Magnon or something, actual primordial human, go back as far as consciousness it exists, and then dump that into your Shoggoth, your android, and see what happens, right? And so 100 years from now or 1,000 years from now, that's going to be the exciting part, I would guess, right? Everything's going to accelerate, and everybody's going to have like Pokemon pets, and the whole actual ridiculous video game world is going to become real. It will be built. It will be possible, and we will live in like Donkey Kong and Popeye and dreams as yet culminated, but it's coming. However, wouldn't it be wild to be like, hey, look what I got, guys. I bought an ancient soul from the days before the internet. You want to put this into our robot and see what this thing's like, and how just incredibly stupid it probably is, right? Like that's the idea here is, I don't know, maybe us old timers, and I only say that with a lot of gray hair, are maybe there's value yet in wisdom and pre-internet wisdom, and as I always like to say, the old ways themselves. I think there's probably going to be a lot of that to play as yet, and our intuition and all the rest. So don't despair. All the acceleration we talk about and the quickening and all this stuff. Hey, we're here for a reason, and I believe that. I don't know what that reason is, but I'm doing my best, as you should as well. So we're talking the black market of digital souls. Now, let me finish this eBay one. I think, let's see, this eBay article. Again, reminder, you can't sell your soul on eBay because people back in 2008, 2016, 2012, they were doing this, and then eventually it ended up as part of the eBay TOS terms of service. No, you can't sell your soul on eBay. Don't try. Stop trying, because people keep trying. Anyway, so here was their actual rule. The sale of souls is banned from eBay because it violates their no item listings policy. According to the rule, all listings must include either a physical item or service the seller can deliver upon the sale. Even if the seller considers their soul a physical object, eBay still refuses to list it. Those filthy pagans, how dare they? The company stated in 2000, quote, if the soul does exist in accordance with eBay's policy on human parts and remains, we would not allow the auctioning of human souls. Well, look at these fine people, eBay. What a bunch of humanists. Oh, my goodness. But anyway, it gets even better, because when you dig a little bit deeper on the interwebs, this isn't the only article or idea of these souls themselves, of people buying souls. There's this other one, and I'll tease this and we'll get to this in a second. Before we actually get to the soul marketplace, there's actually a soul marketplace as well. So I'll deep tease that. We'll get to that in a moment here, depending on who calls. Nobody on the line. If you guys want to pop in here for the bottom of the hour, you're welcome to. Love to hear your thoughts. Selling digital souls, and how weird does it get, right? But there's this article from Mike.com, MIC.com. I bought a soul from a teen on the internet, and this is what happened. Yeah, right? I'll read you just the first part. We'll get back and talk about this. But yeah, it starts like this. So I bought a human soul for $4.99 on Amazon, plus shipping, because I used my free trial of Amazon Prime on season 2 of Transparent. This is an old article back to 2016. It seemed less horrifying than, okay, blah, 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 than this $3,000 genuine human soul on eBay. The product description for my economical soul sounded promising. And here's how they sold the soul. See what I did there. Quote, hello, do you want a soul to be able to apply to your own body? Well, we have the product for you. We have compiled very educated and successful souls, and you can now purchase them. Enjoy. Adds to cart. This particular soul is alive and 5 grams. I know that physician Duncan O.M. McDougall, which we talked about previously, theorized that a human soul weighs an average of 21 grams. But I haven't inked a deal with the Prince of Darkness. I just purchased this out of curiosity, so I didn't need the full bounty. And their human soul arrived. So I'll read that to you when we get back. But it's wild, right? Just to consider this idea that has been around for a very, very, very long time. But suddenly, we're going to digitize this. Everything's going to become accelerated, as I keep saying, become transhumanist, as I keep saying, as we keep talking about, and become, again, as we race toward this technological singularity, once we pass that threshold, the past will seem like we're worse than cavemen. It'll be indistinguishable, or we just want to know what the past was. Like, it's that crazy. That's what the quickening is in this particular aspect. So, okay. So the question really for tonight is, do you think we're heading toward this? I'm calling it the black market of souls. And if you notice the image, it's two illicit folks doing a shady deal in a dark alley, basically buying these souls that are back there lined up like cattle. Yeah. But they're human souls. I mean, anyway, love to hear your thoughts on this. If anybody's got an idea, wants to pop in here and talk about this, I'd love to hear your thoughts, because it's just me if you don't call. And of course, I'm me, you're you, together we're us. 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Love to hear what you think. Nobody on the line right now if you want to jump in here. The black market of souls. Digital necromancy accelerated. And we've come a long way from, let's say, 10 years ago when the haunted internet theory was a little more innocuous. Now suddenly we're dealing with Shoggoths, we're dealing with John D resurrected in large language model form, and of course anybody or anything you could really dream of could be created, duplicated, replicated. Weird? Nah? Am I overreacting? What do you think? Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. Don't go anywhere.
They're out there in the sky, invisible lines, a secret fleet they say, hidden in plain sight. It's a cloak and dagger play, under spectral lights, fiction or real life. I've lost the fight. Saw their shadows cast on my bedroom wall, ghostly whispers faint, answering no call. Is it all in my mind, or am I insane? The stories of a world beyond, driving me in chains. The streets are silent now, the truth's veiled in mist. Looking to the stars above, wondering what I've missed. Echoes in the night, silhouettes out of sight. Their eyes are watching closed, unseen by the day, hiding in the dark where shadows play. Government secrets whispered, never to be told. Underneath the cover of night, is there truth to behold? I hear the hum, the sound I can't explain, disappearing lights, driving me insane. Muffled footfalls echo, through empty streets we roam, searching for the clues that lead us home. Paranoid delusions grip our fragile minds. Reality bends and blurs in this space and time. Is it all in my mind, or am I insane? The stories of a world beyond, driving me in chains. Static on the radio, the static hums a tale. In basements and attics, secrets sift like mail. Eyes behind the blinds, knives behind the backs. Conspiracy we ride on paranoid tracks. Is it all in my mind, or am I insane? The stories of a world beyond.
I really love that one too. What's up, guys? Hope you're doing well tonight. Thanks, guys, for calling in. Appreciate that. Kelly's first. We got Matt Sal second. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, this is a weird one, right? What's up, Jen? How are you? Jen says this is madness. Souls don't cost money. Exactly. Bing. What's the target? Bing. Exactly right. What's up? Shane says, shoot, I only have enough money to buy 19 grams of a soul. We'll be investing in souls like Bitcoin. It'll be like 0.0006537 of a soul. Gen Ads, you can remove a soul from a body without death. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard there is a process that has been practiced in the ancient ways, in the ancient days. Hope you guys are doing well tonight. Thanks for the great chat. Thanks for being cool and chill to each other. Thanks for caring about the ideas. Even if Michael Strange shows up sometimes a little not his best. Let's put it that way. I hope you're well. If anybody would like to have the conversation about selling souls, well, digital souls, let's do it. Here we go. Troubled Minds coming up right now. We got Kelly, we got Matt Sal, and Jiro calls as well. Here we go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, X, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting and 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight we're talking about buying and selling souls. Yeah, that's right. I said it. However, not like you think. Or is it like you think? If and when we pass, I'm being optimistic here, there will be a massive digital footprint of each of us in the internet age that might be used to recreate the essence of ourselves with energy, with ideas, with what? With what? Can you quantify a soul? Is it simply and purely, truly energy? And if it is, and you can download enough essence from an individual before they pass on, can we recreate anybody, anytime? Yeah. It's weird, right? Like this is one of those ones that was sci-fi 10 years ago. Right now, we're probably on the cusp. And not only that, probably recreating it physically in the physical world. Like I said, you want Pee Wee Herman back? You could probably have him soon. 5 years, 10 years, maybe. I would guess 7.5 years, just to be, diplomatic. It's probably where it's coming, when it's coming. And that means we'll all have Pokemon pets and Shoggoths and whatever you want. Cthulhu dolls that are real. Imagine the kids doll, those spooky kids dolls with the eyes and whatnot. Remember the porcelain and all the stuff? Imagine a kids doll in like the year 2060. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. 702-957-1037. What do you know about this? How weird is it? And what do you expect will happen from the old version of the haunted internet to the new version of the haunted internet in the accelerated aspect of our reality? Let's go to Kelly in Colorado. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you tonight, sir? And go right ahead.
Good evening, Michael. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
Right on. What you got for us tonight? What do you know about the market of souls, my friend?
This is an interesting one. Let's see here. So, for me, I look at like people call souls or your spirit, and then you say we're an energy being. That's what a soul or a spirit is, right? So if you can't destroy energy or create energy is just already as it is, but it can change shape. So if that's the case, I mean, I don't know if they can say that you can lock energy into a certain, I don't know, like a vessel or, I mean, you can like, I guess you could say like capture energy, kind of like what Tesla was doing with the ionosphere. That's how he was trying to get free energy with everybody was, capture from the ionosphere and then send it out to it's more like Wi-Fi, the way he was explaining it. Everybody would just have like a box on the side of their house and that's what would pick up the energy, right? But so if that's the case and you want, and your soul or your pure energy, can it be trapped? Can it be used? I know it could probably be trapped and used, but for how long? Because once the energy is spent and whatever you're trying to create is it's spent and then that's it. It's just like a life cycle. So if you're having that, looking at it that way, you can be, because there was a story, I don't know if you ever ran across, but there was a kid, he talked about he was from Mars, right? But his whole story, some of the backstory is that he was saying these souls were trapped in these rocks that were like, or statues or something that they had on Mars, these other species, right? They trapped the energy, and that's how they were using it. But he said there was a war that went on, and somehow that rock broke, that all the souls that he was trapped inside this rock with, they all escaped and came to Earth. That's how he was reborn in Russia. It's a crazy story. I don't know if you ever ran across it, but that's the only one I really seen it, really kind of come across to talking about, something like that as like a trapping a soul. But I look at too, when people say, like, you hear these singers and these actors and actresses, they all talk about selling their soul, right? For me, I don't think they're really selling their soul. I think they're selling the vessel that their soul is sitting in. That's what it is. I mean, you kind of hear like, who was it? The guy that worked at Area 51. I'm bad with names sometimes, but
Bob Lazar.
Yeah, Bob Lazar. Okay, remember he ever seen some of his interviews? He talks about how he thinks how aliens think humans are, that we're just vessels for souls. And then you hear stories like, you hear people like talk about walk-ins. There was this people I used to follow. They were more like into like Salcedo, the paranormal and stuff. But he was one of her like co-star that she was with. He was saying that he was a walk-in. He was a reptilian. Like his soul was, where he came from was a reptilian, and then he came into a human body because they transferred the soul. I guess his story was that this kid had passed away, and at the time he did a walk-in, right? That kid's soul left the body, but he came into the body, the vessel, and then restarted the heart, helped restart the heart or whatever, and then brought him back to life. But now instead of the kid, it's now him in the body in the form of this, in that vessel, in the form of that kid. So, but you also have like, I don't know, trying to say like you can, make, the whole thing's talking about with like going with clones, right? So I have the theory with like people saying, you can clone. I say we're all clones actually, because if you have like, that's why they call them doppelgangers. Doppelgangers, they say that there's people that around the world that look like you. And there actually is. There's actually people that, from every walk of any race and any male or female, people that look exactly like you.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not talking you're not even, they're not even you're related in any kind.
Yeah. Have you seen the guy, the Chinese Elon Musk? Have you seen that guy? He looks exactly. He's Chinese. Yeah. It's wild. He's made like an entire career on social media because he's a Chinese guy that looks exactly like dead ringer. If you prompted into AI, you're like, make me a Chinese version of Elon Musk. It would create that guy. And this guy's real. And yes, I'm not kidding. Just search it yourself. You'll find it. He's hilarious. He's all over social media. And Elon retweets him from time to time. It's hilarious.
The funny one I seen it was a GIF, right? And it was like Elon Musk saying something. He was speaking and he was saying that that Chinese can only do was copy. They couldn't be an original. But it shows that guy that you're talking about. There's like it flips around to him because he's standing next to a car, and he's like the Chinese Elon Musk. It was pretty hilarious though, man. Yeah, I've seen him though. He looks almost just like him too.
Yeah, it's very close. It's like 99% of his face. And basically, if he like did his hair the same color, like you might be fooled if like he spoke like him. It's so wild.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it too, yeah, even like people have done. I'm sure people have seen some of those. But like I remember growing up and they were doing a show and they did a show about doppelgangers. And it was just real quick, this little girl, You know, she was looking for it. Now you can go online and go doppelganger.com, if you want to put your photo in, and they match it. Like if anybody else that looks like you or whatever, they're going to match it. But it was a little girl who'd done that, right? I don't know. I'd say she was probably in her early teens or like 19, 20, like something like that. Anyway, she put her face up there, and she had 2 matches. There was 2 girls from 2 different countries, and they all looked exactly alike. But the strange part about it is they not only looked alike, they dressed the same. And they don't even know each other. But they look like they could be triplets. That's how close they look like, right? They all got together. They had almost the same laugh too. But they would, they even test their DNA. There was no relation like anywhere, really, except for like, the area maybe where the DNA maybe came from, originally from, you know what I mean, over in Europe. Because this girl was in the United States, I think it was like Kentucky. And then they had one girl that was I think Germany, and the other one was, I don't know. I really couldn't say, but it was somewhere in Europe, like another country in Europe. But they all got together, they all met, but they all started laughing. It was a trip. It was I don't know how real the TV shows was, because you can't really believe anything on TV anyway, but you can. Yeah, look at people you've seen TV. You see it on the internet. You see people that look exactly like, or even people from the past that looks just like them. You know what I mean? So is it the cloning, or is it like I say, I feel like we're all clones.
Yeah.
Every single one of us is.
Yeah. To me, it feels like that, to be honest. I'll tell you why. Like many, many times in my life, it's one of the most bizarre experiences. I'll have people walk up to me and they'll just stare at me strangely. And I'm like, hi. And they'll say, I know you, right? I'm like, I don't think so. No, what are you talking about? But many, many times, it's not just once or twice. I've had this happen a lot in my life where people stop and they look at me and they swear they've seen me somewhere before and they can't place it. I don't know. So maybe there's another one of me already running around out there. It's wild.
Oh, I had this guy, I was here where I live at, right? So I was at the laundromat, just sitting outside having a cigarette, and this guy walks up, and he just had a full-on conversation with me. I'm just staring at him, right? And he's had this conversation like we were just hanging out with each other. You know what I mean? He was like, it was the strangest thing ever, and he just all of a sudden he finally stopped and looked at me, and then he looked me up and down like I had changed clothes or something, and he goes, oh, sorry, dude. He goes, you look just, I swear, he was up and down, I just looked like this guy. And he goes, he just was right around the corner. And he goes, I'm surprised you didn't bump into him. I'm like, I didn't see anybody. But yeah, or even in the airport, I was sitting at a bar that was at an airport, just having a couple of drinks waiting for the flight. And these 2 ladies came up, and same thing. They thought they even came up and wanted to give me hugs for a minute. And, I kind of backed up a little bit, and they were like, oh, I'm sorry. And they were freaking out. They even wanted to take pictures with me. And I was like, that's crazy, But,
that's super weird. There's a quick, just real quick on that story. And I'll also add this to the wrinkle. Is this normal? Does everybody out there, drop it in the chat if you want to call, but does everybody sort of experience this where people do that to you? Like, wait, do I know you a lot, often? Not like once or twice, but maybe a dozen, 15, 20 times in your life. It happens to me. It's weird. And now's different. I think, if somebody maybe has seen the stream or something, that's different. I'm talking the last 20 years, 25, 30 years or whatever. So, but just real quick, a funny story on that. There's a local radio host here, conservative guy. He's a lawyer, and he was telling a story about he was going to meet his friend in a bar, and he saw his friend, and so he walked up. His friend's gay, and so as the joke, he comes up and behind his friend and grabs his ass, right? Kind of like for him to turn around and go, oh, hey, well, guess what? It wasn't his friend. There you go. So make sure before you go grabbing people's asses, guys, that you're sure. Anyway, go ahead.
that'd be kind of weird, but yeah,
awkward.
Yeah, you have other, I was thinking about another situation with, people that have I don't know if I brought it up this season. I'm trying to get my thought again. I'll just kind of ramble here, but like where they were, like I was saying, people that looked like they were in the past, like Michael Jackson, for instance. He looked like a mummy, like a pharaoh that was from the past. I mean, they look almost like whatever drawing it was, whoever painted it on there, because it wasn't more or less like the old pharaohs where they made their mask out of like gold or what I mean, like the old style, right? And then you get into close to where Rome and that had conquered. Because after a while, everybody was conquered Kemet, then turned into Egypt, or with the Romans, Greeks, and all of them, so. Even then, it was like a painted thing, and it looks just like Michael Jackson. You have other actors. I mean, like Jay-Z, he's got somebody that looks like a random guy in a picture, or even that girl that, how dare you, I don't know her name, but yeah, she's got a picture of a girl that in the past that looks, talking identical. Like, I don't know if these people can live long or they're, like I'm saying, like these walk-ins or something. Because Toph talks about this, he talks about that he cheat, he knows how to beat death, right? So that's why he was reincarnated 3 times, was like, Jupiter, he was called by the Greeks or whatever, and the other one was Hermes Trismegistus, right? He was known by them. But there were also talks about he had like these avatar bodies that he would like exchange his soul or his energy in, and then he would put this other body that was already, that he lived for thousands of years in, and then he would have to regenerate. So, I mean, some of these stories that you can read, and some of these, some people want to call it mythology or even, whatever, but I take on all information and no matter how weird it sounds, because you get similarities on a lot of things that are going to happen. And this is one of them too, talking something like this. But now that we're talking, in the digital age, who knows what you can do. I know they can, look what, we're almost like computers anyway, look how much information on a gram of DNA you can store, right? It was some kind of crazy number, like, I don't know, it was like, a billion megabytes, it's just something, and that's just a gram of DNA. These 2 people they were downloading this. It was a book, it was a pretty thick book, a lot of information. They could download it, and they uploaded it, like, I don't know how many thousands of times, and it was like never disintegrated, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. And
that's just the human body. We're not talking about the spiritual side of it, like where we're talking the energy side of it, So I don't know. Can we already do it? Are we living in a, hologram life, or, I mean, it's all the same almost, Who knows?
Yeah. When you go to the metaphor of it, it does seem like a lot of that structure stuff lines up pretty well, no matter how you look at it. Even any of the ancient tales, it feels like there's, like the ancients themselves were sort of recognizing, let's call it the harmony or something like of the universe itself, and then trying to extrapolate it and explain it in the tales, in the deities, and the mythology and the folklore that they created. And it is bizarre and amazing and incredible that there's so many parallels, not just from nature, but beyond that, with the primordial gods and stuff like this. It's like, I do wonder if they were sort of able to tune in the old ways into that substrate of reality we talked about just recently, that they supposedly discovered, which is incredible to me to even think about that. But yeah, who knows? Wild stuff, that the doppelganger stuff, digital souls, all manner or whatever. We got a few minutes left. If you got anything else, go ahead, sir.
Well, just for me, just to end this one, I was like that. I believe that those stories are true. You know what I mean? Like, even from the ancient times, because I mean, look at all the stuff that, I mean, we could sit here for hours for talking about it, but like through my research and whatever I've, looked into, there was already a golden age at one time. I mean, we can't even create stuff like that now. I mean, that's why we can't create it. I mean, we don't see it building like those immaculate churches, or even talking like that, even something closer. They claim to be had been built, like in the 1500s or the 1200s. You know what I mean? But we're talking like, I mean, look at the architecture of some of this stuff. It's mind blowing. And then he even, if, and that's what I love, like with Egypt and everything, but the most incredible things I ever ran across was in ancient India. I mean, you look at some of that stuff in there. I mean, that stuff had to have been like lasered in. I'm talking they got stuff there like left, like how would you even complete that? I mean, just looking at it. And it's all symmetrical. It's all musical. Some of it's movable. I mean, there was this one that they were talking about a ceiling, those incredible ceilings like that. And I think it was Mohan Morad, I think I can't remember. I just chopped his name up, but he's a guy that always does from he was on Ancient Aliens a couple times, but I follow him on Facebook. But he goes all over India, even because India's a vast, piece of land, So he's going to places that he's never even seen before, or even just stories. And like the places that he was into were just, not to get off track, but like the ceiling, right? The carving on it, just mind blowing. But then he was saying the center part, you can unlock it, and then it can all be like taken apart. But when it's all put together, I mean, it's like there's no seams anywhere. And then who's holding up all that weight so you can hold up the middle block to lock it all in? That's my question.
Yeah. There's a lot of those wild questions when you get into the ancient structure of that, especially India. India is a very ancient place. And full of amazing things to talk about and consider, as we've done and we will continue to do. Fire stuff, Kelly. Appreciate you very much. What else you got? Go ahead.
Oh man, that's about it. I just wanted to kind of throw my 2 cents in as usual, but I mean that's how I see it, man. I mean, if this is if science is, or like even ancient stuff that we've been talking about, if this is all true, and maybe we are just living in a digital world, right? And we're using these vessels to transfer our energies into. Sometimes it's more quicker than others. Some more, the way they pass is some more violent than others. But I don't know, man. It's a trip to even try to wrap your mind around it. But a good show tonight, and hope everybody has a good night.
You too, brother. Appreciate it very much. Tell Michelle we said hi, and have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. See you later.
Thanks a lot. That's Kelly in Colorado. The first caller we ever had that called back, and he's been a friend ever since. Going on 7 years. Always fire stuff. Always a great take on this, and that's the whole point of this. Like I always say, talking to regular people about extraordinary things. And Kelly's definitely got it. We're talking the black market of souls tonight. Digital necromancy accelerated, and what will this look like? 10 years ago, as I described when we started, the haunted internet theory seemed pretty innocuous. Like, maybe the ghost in the machine, right? That's kind of a cool idea that, things start to go haywire, but now it's accelerated. We're not even 10 years on from this show, and just the concept of the haunted internet all by itself has scaled right now. And we haven't even got to the agents yet. The agents are coming. And so what does this look like, and how weird does it get? Now, there's this there's actual article. I want to point this out. So again, reminder, you can't sell your soul on eBay. Okay, which we found that out. There's this website we're going to get to where we sell your soul. Okay, like a middleman soul broker. Like, what the hell is that? And then also, there's this other one that I teased. Also, I bought a soul from a teen on the internet, and this is what happened. And if you scroll down, it actually arrived. Okay, so this particular human soul, just to finish the tease that I started off with. Hang tight, Matt. We'll get to you at the top of the hour, and also you, Eric. Thanks for being patient, gentlemen. This particular human soul is alive in 5 grams. Yada yada. Okay, so when they purchased this on Amazon, my human soul arrived about 2 weeks later. It was delayed, but unlike the Oculus Rift community, human soul consumers don't have a subreddit to voice their shipping delays woes. Oh boy. Patience is a virtue, soul suckers. So this is the soul arrived in this little plastic thing, right? Okay, so anyway, it shipped in a large manila envelope, which wasn't exactly what I expected such precious cargo to travel in, but it was secured with an added layer of tape. Inside there was a tiny, seemingly empty container and a typed note that read, "Thank you for your order. We apologize for the delayed shipping time." I guess sometimes it takes a little longer than you thought to remove a soul from a human. Anyway, for this article continues. This is from mic.com. Link's going to be in the description. For your human soul, you can display it on a shelf or open it up and place it next to you and let the extraction begin. It is up to you. We hope you enjoy and hope you can purchase from us again. Thank you. Ollie Official Sales. What's in there's the letter and the little jar and the anyway, hilarious as hell. And well, the idea metaphorically of people selling their souls has been probably on the top of our minds forever. And we know people that we think have probably sold their souls to something, right? But then we also see people in media that have probably sold their souls, right? I'm not going to mention any names, but I'm sure you guys can think of some yourselves. And I will say partisan political pundits. Go ahead and fill in your imagination on both sides. Okay, but the question really is this possible? And in the old days, in the old ways, you used to have to do it metaphysically, okay? You had to make a deal with the devil or whatever, or have some sort of, I don't know what. It would be an actual ritual to remove your soul and put it in a little jar and then send it via USPS or something. I don't know. Anyway, does any of this make any amount of sense conceptually? That's what's on my mind tonight. We're talking selling digital souls. We're talking the acceleration of the haunted internet theory. And of course, taking your calls if you want to be part of the conversation. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We're talking the black market of souls, digital necromancy accelerated. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Be right back. We got Matt, Sal, and Eric, and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere. Be right back.
In a cryogenic slumber, lost in the lunar night, your face a faded number among the stars so bright. Dreams of forgotten echoes, waiting for time's command. Curtains of grey and sorrow, the lonely lunar sand. Below the moonlit sky, hold on to the fragments of the love we tried. Silent by your where ancient souls reside, suspended in a story, kept in the cold dark tide. Our futures in the making, in silver-edged domain, hearts kept in silent aching, till we meet once again. We are awakened below the moonlit sky, hold on to the fragments of the love we tried. Frozen time we're resting, waiting for dawn's embrace. Whispers of love confessing in this forgotten place. We are awakened below the moonlit sky, hold on to the fragments of the love we tried. Destinies into so vibrant in the vacuum deep in mine. The tale of cosmic yearning across the astral sea, and the fires of hope still burning for when we finally breathe free.
Well, hello, friends. I'm Mike. This is Troubled Minds, and yeah, what's up, Matt Sal? We got Jeff and Wisco. What's up, Don? Joey. We got Michael W. Shalaban. That's Eric. What's up, APOC? Daryl in New York. Sweets. Sonia, Gaston, and Squigs. So we got 3 calls coming up. We got Matt Sal's first. Eric is next, and Squigs. So if you guys can, be patient with each other, I appreciate that. Let's see who's got what and roll with the flow. I can make you short, but let's see. And thanks for being patient. Matt Sal has waited the longest, so you are first up. What's up? I see you in the chat. Hope everybody's well tonight. What's up, Herschel? Great comments, guys. Yeah, right. It's so funny. Squigs is mentioning the over on Rumble, the extra tape on the soul, the delivered soul. Like, what the hell, right? So crazy. It's so crazy. Some of these stories, but again, they're compelling because it does make you wonder. It sort of opens up your mind to whatever bizarre possibilities sort of exist in this space, this realm, this space, this whatever, right? I don't know. No way to quantify it for me, but other than conceptual, eternal superposition. Is that real? Well, I guess we'll find out. I guess we might find out maybe one of these days. Hope you guys are doing well tonight, just hanging out, doing what we do, talking about selling human souls. Of course, it's a Faustian bargain that comes into this, but what happens when it gets to the digital realm? And will ancient souls from before the internet be the glory of all? Here we go. Troubled Minds happening. Meow. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, yada yada, blah blah blah, all the places, all the things, troubledminds.org, troubledminds.net. Tonight we're talking the black market of souls, digital necromancy accelerated. Is it possible to not just replicate a soul, but eventually, do you think that one day the most prime soul will be the oldest quantified digital, or sorry, not quantified, the oldest digitized soul, the oldest one that goes back to the very beginning? Because wouldn't you like to have the soul of a caveman thrown into your Optimus robot? That would be weird, right? Could you teach it to talk? Could you communicate with it? Was it a proto soul? Was it an old soul? See what I did there? Love to hear your thoughts on this. A lot of ways to look at this. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Talking old souls tonight. Speaking of old souls, let's go to our good friend Matthew in California. Matt's what's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. Thanks for being patient, my man. How are you tonight? And go right ahead.
Hey, Mike. Good show.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. What do you know about this? I'm sure there's a lot of angles to tackle, right? Go right ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot. I just feel like right now we're going through this digital revolution, and we're going through it. It's not 5 years or 10 years from now. We're going through it, so we have to be prepared for anything could happen. You know, a couple years ago, we were talking to the chatbot about making jokes with it about Bigfoot and Nessie, and now look how far it's come. So we have to keep thinking about what is next and be open to whatever happens next in this digital revolution. It could be something that we can't even fathom right now. We can't even comprehend. It has, something that never happened before. Now we're talking about putting a soul onto a thumb drive, right? And then plugging it into a computer. With different kinds of summoning spirits. There's like seances and like Ouija boards. Okay, you can summon a spirit. And it says on the Ouija board, it says, "Oh, hey, it's Grandma." "Oh, okay, Grandma, sure." And you don't know who you're talking to, so that's dangerous. And then talk about actual necromancy. Now, to me, this is something I skip. This is not my cup of tea. I skip the necromancy stuff, right? I skip over it. But to me, like bringing back someone from the dead is wrong for reasons. The implications of it, but. And mostly to me, I feel like it's like fantasy, like fiction, like comic books, stories. But we do have stories of like, Jesus bringing back Lazarus from the dead. And when you get into actual necromancy, you can talk about in the voodoo and the hoodoo. They talk about that. Louisiana down south kind of rituals. They have that kind of stuff. They talk about. I kind of believe in it. But the way they do it is they have it's through, the puffer fish, the blowfish has like a poison in it, and they can make a like a potion with this puffer fish poison, and you blow it in someone's face, and if they breathe it in, they kind of become like a zombie, like dead. And that's like a thing, like an actual thing. I don't know if that's actually like straight fiction. Of course, they took it fiction. But that's, actual necromancy. And like I said, it's not right. It's not, we have entropy and we have the whole implications of what could happen if you actually brought someone back from the dead, the repercussions of it. So, okay, we can't go that way. Okay, so let's try to how are you going to bring someone back? Well, let me ask you a question. I'm asking everyone this question. Let's just say, make-believe fantasy real quick. Let's say, there's a bench in a park that's in between here and the afterlife, wherever that is. And you could pay a fee to sit at the bench and summon one person that has passed, and you get 1 minute. Who are you summoning?
1 minute. I'd let it take all the way down. That's a lot of ideas, man, and it would be hard to not summon a past family member, right? But that would be most horrifying, because what if they came back not right, like not right? You know what I mean? So I think, okay. So again, I got a minute. So I would just with that thought there, I would be horrified to summon an old family member passed on and have them come back tainted. So I would be like, give me Leonardo da Vinci. Let's see what this is.
Yeah, and like I like how you kind of threw that monkey wrench in there and said, like you said, like I was saying, we don't know, right? We have no idea what we're messing with when it comes to that. So you're spot on with that. I'd like to play chess with Hitler, but I think I would summon Nikola Tesla, pick his brain for a minute.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's a lot of really wild, tons and tons. Pythagoras, like, Plato, a lot of really, really great historical figures that are like, what? Like, what? Seriously? There's...
Yeah, write this down.
Yeah, I don't know. And so it's probably one of those things you could probably think about for months and before you narrowed it down to like a short list. And then, but like I said, you only got a minute. So yeah, I'll go Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah, you got Tesla. Yeah, right. The Tesla's another fascinating guy. Maybe we crowdsource this when this technology becomes available, and if we all get one wish, maybe we can string together a line of wins together. But anyway, go ahead, fire stuff.
Yeah, I just feel like, okay, so because what we're talking about now, you're saying necromancy. So necromancy is bringing the dead back to life. This kind of is not really technically necromancy. We're not bringing a body or a person back to life. We're bringing a soul of a person back to life. Downloading it into a chip, putting it into a thumb drive, and then plugging it into my robot. I don't know, man. This is getting pretty crazy, right? So it's not necessarily necromancy in a way. But then you think about that, and now you're putting it into digital. And we talked about how QR codes are spells. So maybe the old necromancy can be alive again through the digital, through the spells and the symbols and the sigils in the digital world. And we can make it'd be like a whole new type of necromancy that we haven't even thought of yet. We're making it up as we go.
Yeah.
It would be a whole new kind of magic.
Yeah. It feels like that acceleration is where we're at here. And I don't mean now. I mean, who knows? Like, if you can accelerate, just the term itself suggests that, 1,000 years of futurism could happen in 50 years type of stuff. And then, of course, beyond that, then you're spinning off into, millions of years type thing. So who knows? Maybe right now, all the science fiction and maybe all the troubled mind stuff we've always talked about conceptually and philosophically, maybe it's all possible. And maybe it's all within our grasp. That's the tantalizing part. I don't think you could have said this again in 1550 or something, but certainly right now we're standing on the edge, the precipice of something. And as you said very smartly, nobody knows what this is yet. And how does it all come together? Because I think it does. I think science and religion and faith and the spirit world and beyond the veil, I think it comes together in some way. But how? And what are we missing as part of it? So I don't know. Fire stuff. What else you got? Go ahead.
I'm gonna be short and let the next person go, but I feel like I was talking about, the digital revolution. It's upon us. It's happening right now, and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I think the best way for us to do is to realize that the old systems are not going to work, and we're going to have to break the old systems down and rebuild them, and we're going to have to forget about all the stuff we already know and rebuild it in a new way with the way this technology is going. And it's going to create something different, but it's something that we're stepping into something that we don't know. And my whole point about all of this, what we're talking about, and going into the necromancy and the summoning of souls, I feel like respect for the dead, that might be thrown out the window, but that's my what I feel. Respect of the dead is the main. How are we going to go about this without some sort of like lawsuit?
Yeah, right. Like
I'm joking, but
yeah, no, I'm with you. Like I can imagine like a celestial courtroom with terms and conditions with like God and Satan arguing their case or whatever, right? I mean, like that type of thing. Like, again, conceptually, everybody relax. All small letters, no capitals. Not trying to be blasphemous, but that type of stuff. Like, who knows? Like, philosophically, these are the arguments that will start surfacing because we are, as you said, very smartly broaching this precipice. We're on the edge, ready to turn it into Lord knows what. And also, by the way, I want to echo a sentiment that Matthew said, is to we got to be careful. One is my addition, but also we have to be open to systems changing. So let's not be duped because technology changes quickly, but be vigilant, be cognizant of what it means to be human and not give that up too easily to the transhumanist future. It's coming and it's accelerating. And so just think about these things. Like I said, troubled minds, we're doing our part thinking about these things, talking about these things before that shock factor happens. So yeah, absolutely. Matt, you were the best. Appreciate you very much. Matthew, sorry, I'm getting used to that. Matt's Al, affectionately, of course. You were the best, brother. Anything to add before we move on to the next call? Thanks for being brief and letting everybody in here.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking about this more because I've been kind of getting a lot more into AI, and we're going to have to do a show about it. But I was thinking about that, like with something that you just said, like, the Industrial Revolution back in the day. There's people, we can make it better with steel and mass produce things, but there's probably people out there saying, oh, that's not going to work. That's a dumb idea. And that's the Industrial Revolution, and here we are. We're going through the technical revolution. We're going through it right now. It's not in 10 years. It's not going to be in 5 years. It's happening right now.
Right now.
Thanks, Mike. Great show.
You're the best. Appreciate it. A fantastic call. Matt Sell, you know him, you love him. Go check out his podcast. It's called Temple of the Owl. You can find it, of course, as you would expect. Search it on the interwebs, Temple of the Owl podcast. You'll find it, or go to troubledminds.org/friends right there. Let's scroll down and let's find Matt. It says Matt Sell. Follow Matt Sell right there. There's a Spotify link. Go give his podcast a listen. And by the way, he's got a massive esoteric book collection, and he synthesizes that into his podcast with the wild ideas like we talk about. Please go check it out. Matt Sal is fantastic. What's up? Tell Lacey we said hi. You guys are amazing. I met them a couple times. Fantastic people. We're talking, digital necromancy tonight. The black market of souls. Is this where we're headed? And how dire does this get? I guess 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Thanks for being patient fellows with each other. And let's go to Eric. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you, sir? And
I am doing well. How are you?
Pretty good. Aside from the rocky start tonight, like I said, somebody moved my cheese. I think we recovered well because of the fam here. So thanks to all the amazing people that make this go and settle me down. But welcome to the joint. Another amazing soul here. What do you got for us regarding souls?
Hey, thanks for persevering through, man.
I'm glad to be here. It is a labor of love, but yeah, glad to be here. Go right ahead.
Really quick, a side note, there is a movie about the anthropologist who discovered the pufferfish zombie rituals down in Haiti, and it's called The Serpent and the Rainbow. It's like I think an 80s movie, but you might want to view that. And then also to what the topic of tonight is, if anybody has seen Caprica, which is a prequel to Battlestar Galactica, it takes the premise that the first Cylon was created by an experiment by the guy who created virtual reality, and the experiment was, could he clone his daughter given her psychological profile, her grades, her Facebook posts and such things like that, and all the data that he could gather? Would he be able to make a copy of her? And it worked. The idea was that she had her own artificial intelligence due to the emergent property of all of these things being gestalted together. And so yeah, check that out. That's kind of cool. It's weird. It gets into a little bit of religion and stuff, but because the first thing that they try to do is bring people back from the dead. So, no surprise there, right?
Yeah. Again, the old the ancient quest that continues forever. And we're on the same page here, because I was trying to think of the name of the movie before you type it in the chat, and the only thing I can think of, the first one you mentioned, I was like, Rainbow. It's something Rainbow.
Yeah,
when Matthew was talking about that, and then you Serpent in the Rainbow. You said, I was like, dude, this guy's on the game. We're on the same page here. Absolutely. I was too young to watch it because there's boobs in it, I think. So I'd never actually saw it, but I do know the general premise, and it came to mind. But yeah, fire stuff. What else you got regarding souls and everything else? All yours, my man.
A few more things, man. If I get too far, just tell me.
No problem.
The other way of copying somebody is like they talk about on Star Trek, right? With the transporter. And even Star Trek has to pay homage to Heisenberg, because that's the crux of what the problem is in creating a duplicate of somebody and the essence of what they are, because of the uncertainty principle, which is essentially, if you're using a microscope or an electron microscope, you're using photons or electrons to try to see what you're seeing, meaning that you shoot out a packet of energy, being a photon or electron, that strikes something and then comes back to you and shows your eyeball what that thing is. And that happens at 180,000 miles per second, right? So it's usually pretty good. But when you're looking at something that's literally in a state of flux, like an electron with a spin that has a quantum wave function, and you hit it with a ball of energy, it's going to change its quantum wave function. The first time the phrase quantum leap was coined was in observance of electrons changing energy states around the nucleus of an atom. So you couldn't see them going the distance. They would just pop into and out of existence as things in nature, which is dissidence, would cause this wave function collapse or keep it going, as it were, until measurement. So it's not really a mystical thing. It's like trying to get one pencil out of a pencil jar and not move any of the other pencils with your big giant hand. It's like, crap. But you can't really look into the nucleus, because the nucleus is protons and neutrons that have their own subatomic particles that are called gluons that hold them together, basically representing one of the four forces of the universe. So that's why they have to put them in large cyclotrons like the Large Hadron Collider to smash them apart. So that's a problem of copying somebody, because there's this eternal flux here, and you can't change matter into energy without changing that. So you have to assume that it has to be done like in the Caprica way, where it's a gestalt of enough information that there's an emergent property of the person that you're hoping to talk with. If that's the case, one of the interesting things to think about in terms of transhumanism and that ability to imprint yourself into something else like a machine is the idea of travel becoming extinct, wherein you pretty much rent what you can afford. If you're traveling somewhere to another continent and you can't afford much, you get a small little robotic body that you get downloaded into, resleeved into, and that's what you get, and you carry out your mission or whatever it is you need to do until you come back, right?
Think
Phantom Menace robot, right?
Yeah, or like the transhumanist version of an international Yugo or something.
Yeah. If you got more money, you get a better model. If you got a lot of money, you can get a biosynthetic model that has sensation. So, there's like luxury models, but essentially you're not traveling in a spaceship from place to place or in a car or an airplane or whatever. You're just beaming yourself to a rented out form that you can re-sleeve in until you accomplish what you need to, and then you can beam yourself back. And another aspect of that is forking. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but that's another like transhumanism concept, that if you can do this, you can actually fork yourself into another construct. And there have been stories written where there have been like whole villages of people who are the same person that's just been forking himself over and over again into different constructs or vessels to do certain things.
Yeah, forking, for those of you not familiar with the term, I know this because of GitHub. There's so you can get like a code base, right? And in this case, we're talking your soul. And on GitHub, it's everybody shares their code, and you can take, like, let's say a perfectly working code base of a very simple blog or website or something, and then you can fork it and then add stuff to it, okay? Or change it into something completely custom outside of where it began. And so forking your consciousness or your soul would mean that your shadow self can manifest, but it's not you. And so I guess in soul terms, you wouldn't have that cosmic karma to chase. It would be that guy now. I mean, it's his problem, not yours.
It either is or it isn't you, depending upon how you're defining soul and forking and all of this. But and then that brings up another point. If it is you in every aspect, if that's possible, if you can do that, then that's immortality, right? If you keep something in your brain, in the back of your cerebral cortex, that houses your own neural net program, and you die and somebody digs that out, they can revive you and you will remember up until the point you died. So like, if it took 10 weeks for someone to find you and do this, you would lose 10 weeks of time because you would have to wait until they found you, and then you could re-sleeve again. And it leads to kind of weird stories, like you could solve your own murder. Like you could be killed by somebody, and then somebody could find you, reactivate you, re-sleeve you, tell you, look, we found you here. We don't really know more than this. And you have to go and investigate and kind of figure out what happened. So there's some interesting things about transhumanity and doppelgangers and that sort of thing. But, really the constituent part of this is what makes a human. To throw a bunch of $20 words at you, for me, it's linear time, it's dopamine, it's serotonin, it's oxytocin, it's cytoskeletal structures that make cells in the neurons of brains that create sonoms and axons and that sort of thing, right? Which AI will never have and can only live vicariously through.
Do you think so, though? Do you truly think that you can't replicate that, the entire nervous system? I mean, eventually, right now, maybe, but, 100 years from now, I think you might be able to do like the replicant, like you were talking about the other night. I think this might be a very possible thing.
Yeah, I would submit to that would be a possibility for sure. It's for sure, yeah, you could, in the far future, because it seems like the leap in AI technology is far outstretching our biotechnology, which used to be the thing that we excelled at.
Yeah, strap in. Yeah, things are getting weird. Regarding the soul itself, I don't know. Again, you don't have to pin yourself in a corner or tell us a belief system or anything. Regarding the human soul, what's your take on that? Sort of the energy aspect of humans, like you mentioned, sort of the chemical reactions. But is there an energy aspect of that could live on past it? I don't know. What's your take there?
Well, yeah, I've got two vectors, and since you asked for one of them, I will go with that first. I hate to talk about OR in such fragmented terms to mention different aspects of it, but one of the aspects of that, which is a theory of quantum consciousness, is that the tubulars is what makes, I guess I'm starting at the wrong end. In your brain, as there's neurons, and those are the things that you use to bridge together to understand what stimuli is. And in those neurons, there's cells. Everything has cells. You have liver cells, brain cells. These cells are neuron cells. And inside of those cells is a cytoskeletal structure, which is inside of all cells. And the cytoskeletal structure is made of tubulin. And this theory stipulates that this tubulin interacts on a quantum level or a Planck level with the universe, and that there's an objective reduction, meaning that out of all the possibilities that could be, there's a wave function collapse that causes an entanglement to occur between what's inside of your brain. There's the atoms in the brain that make up this tubulin become entangled. These entangled atoms become the constituent components for the molecular structure of new somas and axons, which are neurons. So in a way, even if without needing to worry about your mass of your body being changed into energy, there is a part of you that is entangled and will always be that way and is timeless. And it's almost like your brain is like a sewing machine that sews the difference between what it means to be physical and metaphysical. And in between that is the entanglement process, which is outside of linear time. It's a non-linear time. And so it's like a vector particle, right? And it's not relativistic. So there, in my opinion, there is a part of you that even scientifically is indisputably entangled and is eternal and can't change. And the only way it could is if it came down into these same circumstances again, where there was linear time, where chemical reactions could occur, where you could have these things like oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, and all that. But you'd have the veil again, right? The other end of this is in the Catholic religion, where there was the war in heaven and the Apocrypha. They talk about the war in heaven and angels wearing swords and morning star being cast out. And of course, in the New Testament, they talk about the temptation that Christ went through of worldly possessions and goods, and that he became a sacrificial avatar to forgive sins and stuff. So there's all this idea that with the treasures of the world, you can have somebody's soul, or they'll be distracted enough not to be pious enough to get into heaven. So there's that.
Holy crap, you're blowing my mind. You got more? You want to wait, or you done?
I can wait. I got just a little more.
Okay, stay right there. We'll be right back with Eric. Give him a follow. Links in the description. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. We got Joey and Squigs coming up as well. Be right back.
In shadows, we've got maps where nobody goes. In the night under hidden glows, guardians of what no one knows. We seek the truth, nothing can hide from me. In cloaked silence we traverse the lines, through ancient scrolls in forgotten times. Voices echo in the halls of lore, guardians of the mysteries evermore. We seek the truth, nothing can hide from me. Shadows meet in cryptic disguise, our eyes sharp against the everlights. With silver threads we weave the stealth to guard the past, forgotten world. Where the myths collide with hidden lore, our fates are tied. Signals bouncing off the astral plane, invisible codes that can't be tamed. We decode the stars under the midnight veil, a state and circumswept midnight hail. In the echoes of time, where the legends lay, we tread the path where shadows play. With spectral eyes we discern the truth.
Indeed. What's up, guys? If I missed anybody in the chat, say hi. I'll say hi back. I do my best here. MJ, how you doing? MJ says, when you hit 70 years old, nothing is strange. Amen, right? What's up, Blind Psychonaut? Sleep well. What's up, Sonia? White like the ghost. How you guys doing? Hope you're well tonight. Jennifer, what's up? Matt Sal. If I missed anybody, fantastic calls from everybody. Thank you so much for being part of this. What's up, YY? We got some jokes about the forking in the forking yourself over and over again. Not gonna lie, I giggled. What's up, Gordo? YY adds, fork off. I don't believe that. What's up, North Vixen? Sorry I missed you earlier. Cubs Future, how you doing? What's up, buddy? You guys are great. Thanks for the amazing chat, for being cool and chill with each other. Who did I miss? There's somebody else over there on Rumble that I missed. Yeah, you guys are amazing. North Vixen, who was it? Info Jaguar, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being part of these conversations and caring about the ideas. Like I said, sometimes they are galaxy brained, but yet we're all forking too much. What's up? Yeah, but galaxy brain is good when you need a little bit of a distraction. And there's some basis in this. Here we go. Back to Eric. Be right back. Right. Yeah. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. Yada, yada, blah, 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 all the things, all the places. We're talking the black market of souls tonight. Digital necromancy accelerated. Now, what does that mean? Think haunted internet theory 10 years ago, then accelerated in an AI world. Is it possible in the near future we're going to be able to synthesize a digital version of our souls and create a transhumanist ghost in the flesh? And beyond that, how strange does it get with this necromancy accelerated? We've seen it with Tupac performing digitally, and what I think it was Kiss was the band that just digitized themselves for posterity and eternity. I mean, can we get better bands than Kiss? No offense to Kiss fans. I mean, dear Lord. Showing my leaking my bias here. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Back to Eric. By the way, follow Eric. Links in the chat. It will also be troubledminds.org/friends. Follow Eric here. You're not up there yet, but welcome back, brother. You're back on Troubled Minds. Go right ahead. You were blowing our brains up with the scientific version of the soul. What else you got?
I just wanted to point out, you were talking about Faust, and of course, don't forget his special friend Mephistopheles, which was the demon that was summoned. I recently had a seminar at FGCU called Witchcraft in the Atlantic, where we were basically studying the witch trials in Germany and England and Scotland from the 15th century up to the 17th century. And one of the things that we were talking about in the seminar was how Faust was actually written in the early 1800s, and that it couldn't have really been written before that because people took this so seriously that there was like laws, and in Scotland there was like this huge industry in torture devices, which included ones that would fit children. For instance, like it was crazy. It was crazy for a couple of centuries, and eventually it died down to the point where they could actually write Faust without like freaking people out, you know, like with the broadcast of the War of the Worlds and Orson Welles and that kind of thing, right? Like they're not ready for this yet.
Yeah,
I just wanted to point that out because it was just a weird thing.
Yeah, the newfangled term ontological shock that everybody's using in the UFO realm. Everybody keeps invoking that, which reeks of propaganda to me. When everybody uses the same damn term, so I'm going to use it as a counter propaganda technique to everything anybody says that might be ontologically shocking. Fire stuff. What else you got?
I'm good, man. I think I'm good. Thanks.
You're the best. By the way, give him a follow. Eric, the official Dungeons and Dragons expert of Troubled Minds, and far more than that, as you can tell. He met us on the Dungeons and Dragons show. His link is in the chat right now. Please go give him a follow. He's a musician. Go check out his music. I haven't done it yet. I took a nap last night. Guilty pleasure. Sorry about that. I haven't added him to the website, but he will be there. troubledminds.org/friends. It says follow Eric here. Please go check out his YouTube channel. I will do the same. Listen to his music and fire stuff. Appreciate the call, brother. Yeah, we're talking wild things here by dark of night as we do. And yeah, blowing up our brains with the scientific soul. Eric, smart dude. So what do you guys think? Again, digital necromancy accelerated. I think there's something to this, and I think we might have to come to terms with this sooner than later. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Squigs, you're up. Thanks for being patient, my man, and thanks for the amazing chat over there on Rumble and everywhere else. And thanks for subbing up on Rumble too. Appreciate that so much. Welcome to the joint. Just unmute, and you are on Troubled Minds. How you doing tonight? And go right ahead.
Hey, Michael, how are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Good, yeah. Not long time, but I've been listening for maybe a month or two now. So first time calling in. So yeah, pretty cool, pretty excited. Great show.
Glad to have you.
Quick question.
First time calling.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Quick question before I get going. I'll only be a minute or two. You mentioned something about losing where did I write it down? You lost not your bread. I wrote it down somewhere here. You were saying you lost something before and you couldn't start the show, Nelly. Your cheese moved. What did you mean by that?
Oh, it's there's a book called Who Moved My Cheese, and it's an old corporate book that they give to managers, mid-level managers here, and I'm not sure if it's a worldwide thing, but so basically the concept is that your cheese is there. You still have your cheese, right? And everybody's around you moving and doing things, but when somebody moves your cheese, it like throws you completely off, because your cheese was right where you left it, right where you want it to be. But when somebody does something like that, sets their cheese next to it and pushes it slightly in, bumps it off the edge of the table where you want it to be, your brain gets thrown off and everything goes with it. And so you start to become outside of yourself. You start to become frazzled and kind of broken, even though it was such a trivial thing that happened. You still are like the control freak of a middle manager and trying to keep things kind of tight. You know what I mean? So it's basically one of those things where whatever happens, it's a trivial thing that throws you off your game. And so my apologies for not explaining that. And thank you for asking. That's a great question. But the book is called Who Moved My Cheese. It's a very short read. If you guys are interested in it, I don't recommend it, but that's the explanation.
That's so crazy. I'm glad I asked, because I had an experience, and I'll share it on the after show chat about 2 months ago, where my bread moved, and the exact same thing happened to me. So the bread's always next to the toaster. I won't go into it for too long, but the bread moved, and I couldn't find the bread for a few hours, and then it later showed up right where I'd searched the whole house, and it was right back near the toaster, and it led to basically an existential crisis where I was examining reality, spirituality. It's kind of like messed my whole world up, and I joke about it to this day. But anyway, I'll get back to the topic.
No, that's fine.
I've got more questions.
I love that. I love that. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I got more questions than answers with this. The soul and the scientific soul. I guess my first question is, what is a soul? And I think that the question that underpins or comes before that is, are we in a sim or are we not in a sim? So if we're in a simulation, according to what Elon Musk is suggesting, then that makes it a little trickier to define a soul. Where is the soul? How is it stored? Who or what created it? Can it be destroyed? So I think that if we're in a simulation, that makes it all the more complex. But let's assume we're not. I guess the first thing that we're going to have to the first challenge we're going to come across is, how do we quantify it? How do we measure a soul? Can that be done? Because if it can't be done, if you've got that spiritual sort of immortal soul that religions and the spiritual paths talk about, then that would be, I would think, outside of measurement, in a sort of metaphysical, non-physical realm that we cannot yet really access except through perhaps things like DMT and psychedelics. Let's assuming we can access the soul, we need to be able to quantify it, and we need to be able to isolate it, right? And then we can start doing these kind of sci-fi things where we upload it, we put it into bots, we do all of this crazy quantum AGI stuff. So I guess the questions that I've got are really simple: is what is a soul? Are we in a sim or are we not in a sim? And I won't go on for too much longer, but I think that the thing that will be interesting is, if assuming a soul can be quantified and then isolated, aka measured, we know we can monetize it. So I think that what we'll see is, and I'm kind of a little bit cautious of this is why I haven't dived into AI yet, is because I was around at the birth of the internet, and we had pets.com, and we had all of these sort of snake oil salesman ideas that came across with the birth of the internet. I suspect we'll have the same snake oil salesman ideas with the birth of AGI. We'll have souls.com. We'll have a lot of simulated products, and it will be very similar. And I think a few speakers have spoken about this, is we may not be able to fork a soul, but we'll be able to simulate it so close to it being a soul or being your grandma or Einstein or Nikola Tesla that for all intents and purposes it is. So they will then try to sell this experience as you are speaking to Tesla or you are speaking to your former past life. So I think that we've got to exercise caution as we move into this artificial intelligence world / simulating souls world. Are we getting the real deal, or are we getting some snake oil?
Yeah, well, not just snake oil. This goes back to the spirit board, or like you said, granny or whatever. Like you can say you're whoever the hell you want, and if you're put on a convincing case to somebody who's, let's say uninitiated or unguarded against it, then you are who you say you are, and that's the terrifying part. If you guys haven't tried it yet, go to and this has been in the news recently, character.ai. Google just bought it. You can basically tell it to be Nikola Tesla. And what it'll do is it'll synthesize as much data as it knows about Nikola Tesla. And then you're chatting with this chatbot that's role-playing as Nikola Tesla. And so you can do this to John D. or anybody, like Abraham Lincoln, you pick them. And suddenly, this is what's going to happen, not just in the LLM world, the chatbot world. This is going to become physical. And Abraham Lincoln with the top hat and 6'7" or however tall he was and the big beard, and maybe you're in New Zealand, I'm guessing, so maybe Abraham Lincoln isn't a great example, but like this is the type of stuff that we will be seeing visually, experiencing viscerally, and then, hey man, reality is about to be a weird place, and you are right with discernment. It's incredibly important. Go right ahead. What else you got?
Yeah, I wanted to mention that Altered Carbon show that a few people have mentioned. This is a really good series that sort of explores these ideas about taking the soul and popping it in a little captured container and then sort of re-sleeving the previous caller mentioned. So that's super cool. And if I was to do this character AI thing, I'd probably want to talk to this guy Poe from that series, who seemed to be an AI god. I wrote a few things down. What else did I write? Yeah, going back to whether or not the soul's real, is sort of the metaphysical idea that we want to bring metaphysical things into the physical realm. So it's just, to me, I find that fascinating. And we can go from the physical realm, smoke some DMT or whatever, and access the metaphysical realm. But we haven't figured out a way to bridge the two yet. And I think that's going to be an interesting thing as AI sort of increases. Again, it comes back to that simulation. Is it real or is it a simulation? Because if the soul is real, then in theory, you shouldn't be able to truly fork it or truly contain it. It should be this, if you go back to the religious concept, this immortal thing that was created by quote unquote God. So I guess I just got more questions than answers, and I'm just happy to listen into the show and learn, really. I probably had something else, but my notes suck. And yeah, I'm going to leave it at that.
What are you talking about? Your notes are fire and your take is fire. Hey, so where did you find Troubled Minds? Are you our first actual caller from New Zealand? Are you actually in New Zealand?
No, I'm from Australia. Yeah, Ned Kelly zone. Ned Kelly area. Similar accent though.
My bad.
I came across you guys on Rumble. Just stumbling across on Rumble. I think I probably, because I pretty much go to the live section. So you can just hit live and then it will just show you whatever's live. And I think I found you that way.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. So something's working out there.
Great.
We're finding smart people all over the world, which is incredible. Thanks for being part of it. Yeah, and thank you. Double, triple, quintuple thanks for subbing up over there on Rumble. I completely forgot that was an option, and you reminded me by doing that. So thanks for being enthusiastic about the conversation, supporting the show. Thanks for bringing smart ideas, and thanks for being you. Fire stuff, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you. You're welcome back anytime. Have a great night. That's Squigs.
Thank you.
Squigs in Australia. There you go. Pardon my my ignorance and the accents, but us Southwest Americans are so boorish, aren't we? We're so boorish. Great call, Squigs. Look, I don't know. Answers, and he's right about all of that in terms of, it seems like the more you think about this, the more questions open up. And that's exactly the point of the show. It's always been the point of the show is to even take those experiences, or sorry, the conspiracies as sort of a springboard of conceptual thought, and then kind of put it through the human lens, not just personally, but together, collectively, and then kick around the cosmic soccer ball is what I like to call it. That's what we're doing here. Fire stuff. Appreciate the call, Squigs. Thank you again for subbing up on Rumble. By the way, if you didn't know, you could actually sub up and support the show on Rumble as a monthly fee thing. So thank you for that. I really had no idea it was a functionality. If you want to be part of the conversation, you know what to do. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Before we go to Joey, hang tight, Joey. I want to point this out. There's a website. I don't know how long it's been up. I didn't do the deep dive on this, but it's called WeSellYourSoul.com. Yeah, right? I was like, what? Do yourselves a favor after the show is over, of course, and do just a generic DuckDuckGo search, because of course you don't want all the trackers in your searches, and just search selling souls, and you will be shocked to find there's a Reddit thread. Heard some folks are selling souls online. You'll be shocked to find this Vice article. I got 90 days in the hole for buying souls in prison. You will get this, I talked about earlier. I bought a soul from a teen on the internet, and this is what happened. You will find this website called WeSellYourSoul.com. And not only that, they've got a counter here. They say they've sold 4,652 souls. And yes, yeah, right. I mean, there you go. I'm going to read this. Okay. Now, I do not recommend this. I am not endorsing this. I'm saying this is what I found on the interwebs, not the dark web, just the regular old DuckDuckGo scroll of the interwebs. Sell your soul, change your life. Straight from the website. Not an endorsement for me. Yes, you did read that correctly. This is not a scam or a joke. This is a real opportunity for you to finally get what you desire the most. Abandon old preconceptions and step in a new source only few have had the opportunity to grasp. Before going forward, please read carefully the FAQ below. And I was like, oh, do tell me. I'm interested. What is a soul? Straight from the website. A soul is just a string of frequency or energy that resides inside of your physical body. 2, do I need a soul? Yes and no. Technically, your soul is not required for you to have a rich and fulfilled life. That sounds like a soul salesman to me. It sounds like something that Satan would say. 3, is it going to hurt me? Absolutely not. The procedure is painless. You won't even notice anything has happened at all. Okay. 4, oh, here we go. 4, is it safe? We have not encountered a single accident since the beginning of our activity. I imagine on the wall of the room, the break room, 666 days since the last accident. I mean, what is going on here? What can I have in return? 0.5. It's like, yeah, exactly. This is wild. This is the best part. You can exchange your soul for anything you desire. Your ultimate dreams, the things you always wanted. Let your imagination run wild. Okay, I'm not going to do the rest, and I am not endorsing this and not recommending this. I just thought it was absolutely hilarious that there was a website that was middlemaning your soul to obviously, well, you know who. you know who. Exactly. That is scary. And the FAQs are even more terrifying because they're like, that's fine. You don't even need a soul. You can operate perfectly well without one. Sell it to us. That's the craziest thing ever. Oh, goodness gracious. 702-957-1037. All the links are going to be in the description down below. Joey, you're on Troubled Minds. What's up, brother? How are you tonight? And go right ahead.
What's going on, Mike? How's everybody doing there?
I'm doing better than I should be. I hope you're well as well. What you got for us tonight?
Yeah, I'm just getting in. Actually, I had a long night. I saw the show come in, but I was on the road. I had to go to an airport really far away to pick up one of our workers that came in from out of state. Late night shift for me, so I'm getting in here a little bit late. I'm sorry, can we go over that topic for me so I kind of keep myself straight?
Yeah,
that was an awesome last 2 calls. The last 2 calls, I caught those, so I should be on par, but I was wrapped up in their calls, really.
Yeah, I got you. I'll reframe you. So we're talking the black market of souls, I'm calling this. Digital necromancy accelerated. So can you digitally replicate a soul? Okay, so one, of course, it presupposes a definition of a soul itself. And then second, can you get close enough to fool people, and is that good enough, right? And so that really scales the questions out as far and weird as you want to get. But the problem is that we are, as usual, like quantifying consciousness is difficult. There's no consensus on that yet. The soul itself, energy, not energy, some spiritual thing. Like who knows? Like there's a lot in this, but basically that's the crux. Is that eventually will we be selling souls in the transhumanist future we're heading toward? And so, what's your take? Go ahead.
Right. So like in the show, was it last night or the night before, we were talking about the artificial protein that they created?
I don't even know. Let's say it was last night because it all.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, me too. But so if they're working towards, that they're working towards everything that's artificial. I mean, the idea has already been put out there in pop culture for a long time, and I've said a couple times on the show that I believe like they put those things there on your TV screen to desensitize you because your mind is at the most relaxed place it could ever be. You're the king of your castle, and you brought this in willingly, and you think it's your entertainment, but this person puts an image that makes you see it later on in real life and be totally desensitized, or at the very least they have probably somewhere in some small print some kind of omission that says, well, I told you in 1995 when I released that VHS that, I'm going to do this later on. I'm not liable. This was I know it was a fictitious thing I said then, but really it was more like a concept that we had planned for later on. So they want to put everything into digital form because then they know for a fact they exist forever. But everything that I know in the known universe is made out of matter and has some form of energy held inside of it, whatever tangible form it takes. It doesn't really matter. The matter itself can never be broken down so far it can be destroyed, and I don't think the energy can either. So by basic scientific law, you're already an eternal being. If you want to get spiritual about it, it makes you feel better about your plight on this wilderness that we have dominated. The only thing that's to be scared of anymore is each other, and that's the scariest thing there is. So that's the plight of man now, is that we are the dominant figure here. We could make this paradise again, or we could continue to do what we're doing and dissect everything to the point where we can create whatever we want and make it so. And the people are getting to the point where they're willing to take that cushy, non-realistic lie that we've said this is what society is and you can live so pleasant with each other. But if we want to get back onto some kind of track, as people have to start taking the reins. You've said that before. I mean, nobody wants to really be a participant in this as long as they can just get all their stuff and live life comfortably. I mean, other countries don't have it so nice. We're a little privileged to be able to sit here and even speculate like this.
Exactly.
Because we should be looking for water, or we should be trying to dodge bullets or whatever people do. And even just, creatures out there. I mean, I don't know about you, but I live in a place where I don't really have to worry about too many natural predators. And if I do, I have a gun if I want to, or, my neighbor does or whatever. And we could kill it if, we needed to. It's not a big deal. It happens all the time in the country, and a lot of people in the United States have firearms, and that's a big deal too that people talk about. But they're out there, and we freely carry them in some places, some freer than others. But for the most part, we're allowed by law of the whole land to have them, whereas other places, not so much. No.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And so, wildly enough, nature tries to encroach, and we've sort of created these bubbles of society where nature is less likely to kill us. I'm not going to say it's never likely to totally kill us, because it's always trying, because it needs the cycle, right? It needs the cycle to repeat. Yeah. And so if you're not actively trying to kill everything around you, then what are you doing? You aren't doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding, of course. But, right. But that is Mother Nature in and of itself, right? Entropy, exactly. Those entropy cycles. But yeah, I mean, regarding all this stuff in souls and all the rest of it, I don't know, like we are in this weird space where things are accelerating, and suddenly and soon this type of stuff is going to become paramount. It's going to become so in our face that we can't ignore it. And that's exactly the point. Yeah. And so that's exactly the point of bringing this stuff up. And again, talking futurism, talking transhumanism, talking about these wild ideas, because we don't know what tomorrow will bring. Actually, we do. So today, by the way, just real quick on the AI front, if you guys are following the news at all, Gemini 2.0 launched and then retracted the launch because they were anticipating OpenAI, their new version, to launch. So there's like this sort of weird Cold War game going on with next AI system launches, and I guess they don't want to be the one to put their crappy one out first that everybody is better with. You know what I mean? So, but tomorrow we do know. So the reason I brought that up is because what happens tomorrow, nobody knows. We do know in this case, OpenAI has stated they're launching their new model tomorrow. So if you guys are following that news, I'll keep you abreast of that. We'll be on tomorrow night at 7 p.m. doing the regular thing. Everybody's welcome, by the way. Just a reminder. It's just I call it the UFO zeitgeist to attract more of the folks from X over there that are more into sort of the normie idea of UFOs and recognize that there's a ton of other wild stuff that comes with that conversation. So that's why I call it that. But we'll talk about that a little bit tomorrow. But yeah, fire stuff, brother. You were on the game here, and I don't know what does the future look like? What does today look like? And what does tomorrow look like? It's all always in motion. The future is, says Yoda. But yeah, fire stuff. What else you got?
Yeah, always in motion. Everything is. It's all in flux, and that's kind of, even when you're sleeping, like all your cells, everything's still working without you doing anything or thinking about it. Like anything else, even a chunk of metal has to sit there, and it's not consciously thinking about itself as a chunk of metal, so far as we know. Of course, I read a book to my son earlier about that, and the little book talks from the perspective of a molecule of magnesium. So yeah, maybe, who knows? I don't know. But either way, those molecules of that metal still sit there and do their thing. So everything has motion all the time. I mean, it looks solid, but it's still vibrating the way it's vibrating to stay in that solid form. Like, let me ask you a question. I thought about this while you were talking. Sure. When you were younger, the music you were into, the films, the genres, whatever, I don't know how you lived your younger years, but whether you went with whatever was popular with your friends, or you had some kind of nostalgic thing that came from your family, that's kind of what spurs a lot of the differences between people that I've seen. Like, you either resonate with the place you came from, and you get a lot from that, so that moving forward, you have all the building blocks that were behind you, which you already have from the genetic code, but you don't know that person on a personal level. So if you get to know your people and you take that with you, you can then build upon yourself and know exactly who you are and where you came from all the way down the line when you split into the atom that you are. But if you denounce your origin and you try to fit yourself into some kind of framework that's your own design, you're allowed to do that now, but it's gotten to the point where people are zealous and they're so crazy about it, and now we're speculating laws that are just commonplace and understandable. Anyone can read them. They've been there forever. They apply to all of us, and nobody's more special than the next, no matter what you all of a sudden think you are today or want to. But you have the right to. You just got to do that stuff in your own house, Don't come here. This is a public place. That's what we all agree upon. That's what keeps the status quo here. But now they've gotten people thinking this alternate way, and they have no idea who they are, where they came from. They've just been given all these different types of rhetoric from so many different directions that they don't know how to sort out all the information. It's like I said to you one time about the internet and the phones and AI, any of this technology, if it was just utilized and we were taught from the beginning, this is what this is, what it's capable of, and what we can all do with it, so that we can move the entire species ahead by leaps and bounds. We'll evolve along with this and not let this do the work so that we stay stagnant, because essentially we're kind of reverting back to cave people. We're dumbing down. It's like the movie Idiocracy. And they don't care if the populace gets like that. They want them to be like that, because those people aren't going to fight too damn much for what they believe in or whatever. As long as they get what they need, they can live in a box. Eventually, if the box gets unmanageable, you can't provide that same level of box they'd like, you could very well convince that deprived individual to just lay inside this goop tube and let me use your energy, and I'll project into your mind a real world that's so real that you'll believe this, the realest world that's ever been. And I'll tell it to your mind. You can choose whatever you want. You know how easy that would be for those people to be like, you know what, reality sucks, and I'm totally protected there. I don't have to worry about nothing. I still get whatever reality I want. Super. Double plus good. People to do that, but at the same token, there's going to be the other half of the bag. Everything's got duality that's real. It has to be that way. It's all one side or the other of the coin. And there's that middle of the coin that bridges the two together, but that's a really thin, narrow path that not too many people take. And when it all culminates, one society to the next, it's all done the same thing that we're seeing right now. It's not to say that our society is about to end, but it will transition into something else. Otherwise, it will end. That's the nature of societies. They have a rise, they have a fall because they got basically to a place where they can't ascend any further. Maybe they don't know how to broaden their thinking. Maybe they have a narrow sight about, we're better somehow because we've gotten so big. And that's probably true too, because if people in general had the right idea, they'd get big and have a really great work in society. They'd want the entirety of the world to have that, not to go to war with them and force it upon them like it has happened in history, but to say, hey, if we all just do this as one thing like ants, we'll lift this leaf and we'll be able to take it wherever we want. And we'll still be able to be individuals.
Well said. Well said.
Some people are going to go into that, kind of matrix willingly, or camp, or whatever level of servitude. They'll take it because it's better than anything else. And honestly, it's better for them because they don't have to think about what they just have to do what they're told, or be where they're told, or whatever. And then the rest of us that want to think about stuff, we got a hard time dealing with that because things aren't exactly even keeled, because we have to contend with that. And we're not of the mind that those people shouldn't exist, but we have to contend with that because we're those equal-minded people. But the truth is, we're probably, if all these questions weren't sitting there having to be dealt with in the society spectrum, we'd be the type of people that would be leaps and bounds in our spiritual thought, because most of us, when I listen to everybody on here, are pretty close to that mark. My personal belief is that every single thing that exists anywhere is all just one thing, because it's all existing at one time. Like you and I, I've said it before to you, we're on different pieces of this land right now, but without that land, there'd be no contrast for us. And without the air, we wouldn't breathe. Without time, nothing would be captured in our memories or in the history of every single piece of material matter that's going to break down and become something else one day. You were something else once upon a time because your matter had to have been broken down and then somehow created you. That's just the cycle of the matter transferring from one thing to the next. Where your energy came from, I don't know. If it's the same thing as the soul, I can't say. I feel like whatever capsule you're in, if you're a water bottle, if you're a human being, if you're a blade of grass, whatever you can do in that time, so like maybe some things are just fixed, small energies. But human beings, if you've gotten to this level of energy, you can't go into a smaller cell and become a worm. You can only go back into a cell that's big enough to hold that amount of energy, unless you grow that energy or somehow maybe diminish it or split it up. I don't know how that would work, but I think you as a person living through life have this one chance right now in the tangible temporal world where we're right here touching stuff to do whatever you please. And you could think about it or not, or do good or do bad. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're only going to either leave here having made your energy larger or kept it the same, but it's either tilted more negatively charged or positively charged. And I feel like on the other side of this coin, if this is physical reality, all this same stuff must just exist, but as one thing. So being there, if you have a negative thought process about life and you can't hack it here, you probably think it's hell because everything's going to seem like nothing's real, nothing has form, I don't know what's going on. If you're cool with everything here and you know you're part of the oneness of all of this, you probably have a great time and feel like you're in heaven.
Yeah, well said. Well said. All that. Just to put a cherry on that, in my opinion, don't forget our human discernment, our intuition, recognizing the world is changing incredibly quickly, and not to fall into our old patterns, because our old patterns will not play in the future, and the future might be tomorrow. The future literally might be tomorrow. So take it day by day. Again, synthesize the data. Don't forget what it means to be human. And don't forget, as I always say, I'm me, you're you, and together we're us. And take care of yourself, because if you can't and don't, you can't help other people. It's a very basic formula. However, it seems like we end up, complicating things. Final thought, my brother, and let's wrap this.
Yeah, that was very well said, bro. And I do have a final thought because you just reminded me. So things are definitely moving very, very quickly. And maybe it's odd for us, because we're from a little bit further in the past than, the next generation coming. But the future is the next second from now, always. And the moment is all we're living in. And when I asked about when you were a kid listening to music and stuff, your parents or grandparents ever say, like, the music you kids listen to is trash? What we listened to was the music. We had real music. We had real actors. You ever hear that?
Actually, no. I came from a...
Maybe not, but it's cliche. You've heard of it.
I got
maybe.
you. I know what you're saying. But you asked me the question. No. My mom actually still listens to the music of my formative years, which is hilarious. so she was into it. But she is, of course, again, a boomer, a child of the 60s and all the rest of that stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, cool. Groovy.
But that's the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's the way that a parent should be. You can't shun what the next generation. They're going to do whatever they're going to do anyway. They're going to think whatever is hip to them anyway, whether you like it or not. If you can accept that as the past generation, that the mantle's being passed, and this is what it's growing into, the things that you helped build the blocks of and the generation before you. If you can appreciate that, you could probably relate to the next generation and even be able to help them understand all the building blocks before them, and then they'll move forward properly. But if you just let them loose and you tell them what you got going on is nothing, and you don't know nothing, and you can't do nothing, well, they might show you they could do something, and they might show you with some kind of angst that will negate what they would really do if they had the opportunity to have all the information and have real free choice. But if they do it off just the emotions that you've helped create, then they move forward negatively. So, the next generation is moving really, really fast to us, but everything's moving fast. I think the Tibetans used to talk about this. Like, eventually the world will be moving so fast that whatever you think will just become into being. You'll be able to move and think, in that kind of way. And I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but when I heard it the first time, I was like, I can get what you're saying, but I don't know. But I definitely know that by comparison to when the world began and today, it's certainly moving at a different speed physically, and everything on it is different than it once was. It's not the same wilderness. So for us, because we're building societies and we've gotten to this kind of plateau, it's either we're going to figure out what's the next step, or we're going to have to start tearing some stuff down so we can kind of start from scratch here or there. And anyway, final thought is, I don't know. I just wish everybody peace.
That's a fantastic final thought. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for staying up late with us. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being you. Always a pleasure. And we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, man. Thanks, bro.
Thanks a lot. Real quick on that, a final thought from me regarding that and all these things regarding, education, teaching people. Listen to this. So we are preparing our students for jobs that don't yet exist, using technologies that haven't been invented to solve problems we don't even know are problems yet. And that's, there's another quote I was looking for, but that will certainly suffice. But there's basically the children of today are not built for yesteryear. They're built for tomorrow. And so, whereas we can do our best and teach them the most, in the most robust way we know, it still is up to them to wade into that world of uncertainty. because tomorrow is undecided. It's one of those thoughts that comes to mind from time to time. They are not built for the past; they're built for the future. And so, yeah, just a reminder that the old ways may have been good in the old way, and I am a big advocate of that way. I'm always bringing it up, always talking about it. But in the future, we don't know about the problems as yet to arise. So, critical thinking, opening up the mind to limitless possibilities, not so limitless that your brain falls out, like we always say. Shout out Art Bell, rest in peace, the GOAT of paranormal radio. But he said, not attributed to him. He jacked it from somewhere else, I'm pretty sure. But keep an open mind, but not so open that your brain falls out, because then you'll spend time running circles with all the possibilities and never get anything done, properly done for yourself or anybody else. It's important. Discernment in all the ways. And that's my final thought. And it's incredibly important. Tomorrow is dependent on our resilient children today. Trust me on that. It's a temporal cycle we can't break. Well, until we can. That's it. I don't know. A lot of ways to look at this. A lot of ideas. A lot of amazing things. What's up? Shout out Carla. Prayers for Carla. Hope you're feeling better. Better tomorrow. Tomorrow's a new day. Tomorrow is a new day. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for staying up late. Look up. You know me. Conclusions few, questions many. Answers to me are a slippery fish. The truth is a slippery fish, as I like to say. But recognize when you don't demand a resolution, that this actual space can just flow into a conversation tomorrow. Shout out Lily in Australia. Sorry I missed you there. Have a good night. Good afternoon, actually, in Australia. But that's it. Like, we're so built in a tribalist manner that we demand an enemy. We demand a friend. And if we don't have those things, we feel moreless in some ways. However, those are the old ways. I think the new ways, we can break down that resonant energy that may have brought us here. But as I said, the children of today are built for the future. They're not built for yesterday. Wisdom plays, discernment wins. That's the way I see it. You guys are the best. Thanks for being part of this. If you want to help Troubled Minds, help our friends, troubledminds.org/friends. Please go follow all these amazing people. Like I said, the chat is amazing. All of you in the chat, all the amazing calls that make this show go. You make my world go around, as I say, and it's the truth. I hope I do my part for you. So thanks for being part of this and caring about an unlimited conversation, the never-ending story. Whatever, however you want to determine this to be, I've called this the Great Conversation, because it doesn't end. Ideas do not. They continue. Lest we allow them to. And that's that. You guys are the best. North Vixen, shout out. I didn't say hi to you. Sorry about that. I said hi in the chat. Or did I earlier? I don't know. It's all blending in my head. What's up, Tartarian? I see you over there on Rumble. Thanks again, guys, for being part of this. Remember, we'll be back tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific time and doing sort of just the chat, the fireside chat with Troubled Minds. If you want to help us, help our friends, troubledminds.org/friends, troubledminds.net/friends. Right there, click it. You'll see the list of friends. Eric will be on there tomorrow. I'll make sure this happens. And of course, if you should be on that list, go check it. Fred's going to be on that list. I'm sorry about that. He sent me his links. I didn't add you guys. I will. Working on it. I got a database and everything's going to be just fine. If you want to help Troubled Minds directly, spread the word. Let people know a conversation is happening where we're not going to talk about all the same nonsense everybody else talks about. We're just not going to do that. I've always been a weirdo. I've always been, lucky enough, not an outcast, but weird enough where I wasn't a mainstream guy. So, hey, sometimes you just got to grip it and rip it and roll with it. So here we are, all these years later, still doing bizarre things and finding amazing people. Tell me, is there a smarter group anywhere on the interwebs? If so, I want to find who they are. As we finish, be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night.